All right, are we good? Are we live? I think we are. Hello all and welcome back to Women's Football Chat Live. We're back with more WSL action this weekend, the last weekend before the winter break, and we kick off this weekend as Everton take on Arsenal. Two sides looking for to continue in positive form. They returned from the international breaks with wins last weekend, with Arsenal claiming a narrow victory over Liverpool with an 87th minute Blackstenius winner being the decisive goal, while Everton claimed a huge victory over Chelsea away at Kings Meadow. So returning to Goodison Park today, can Everton keep that form going, Harry?
Potentially so, as you say, a huge win for Brian Sorensen and his side last weekend. And if we take our minds back to this match week last season, they also managed to beat Manchester City at home. So Everton are the real Christmas giant killers over the last couple of years, and Arsenal will be hoping that doesn't happen to them. But yeah, it's a massive match week, game week 11, halfway through the season, the one before Christmas, the one before the winter break. You want to end it high, you want to end on a win and finish as high up the table as you possibly can and end 2025 on a high. But yeah, it's a big game week. It sets us up nicely for the second half of the season. So Arsenal especially will be hoping they can get the job done today, get 3 points on the board, and then put the pressure onto Manchester United and onto Chelsea to go and get results tomorrow, who are both playing difficult opposition. So this match week could be a good opportunity for Arsenal to gain even more ground on their European rivals.
Absolutely. I think for Arsenal, it's a case of focusing on themselves and hoping that results are, fall favourably for them elsewhere. As you say, a victory today would put them second in the table. And, we would expect that Chelsea United would win tomorrow. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion at all. I think Chelsea are in a bit of a patchy run of form, and Brighton are giant killers. We've seen it many times before. And United have got Tottenham, which I definitely don't think is an easy game at all with the way Tottenham are playing. There's every chance Arsenal could come out this weekend second in the WSL table, and suddenly their terrible start to the season starts to look a little nicer. And for one team in particular, it looked very nice, Manchester City, because they would extend their gap at the top to, quite ridiculous, because Arsenal can jump today up to 22 points, with them 5 behind Manchester City. City were to win and Chelsea were to drop points and United drop points. City could go as many as 8 points clear, I believe. So, yeah, that's the result City are hoping for. So Arsenal today hoping to go second, at least momentarily. Let's dive into the lineups then to start today's show. As we are at Goodison Park, we'll start with the hosts Everton. It looks a 4-4-2 on paper, though we would expect that to be a 4-2-3-1 for Everton. In goal, it is Courtney Brosnan. A back four then consisting of Fernandez, a back two of Mace and Ishikawa, and then Kitagawa at left back. In the midfield, it's a pivot of Hayashi and Wheeler. On one side, it's Payne. On the other, Vignola, Mamiki in the 10, and Gargo up front. I feel like that's how this makes the most sense, but I wouldn't be surprised with how Everton have done this season if it looks nothing like that.
Yeah, very much so. Everton have chopped and changed it a little bit. I think the 4-4-2 will definitely be what we see out of possession. Everton are just going to sit in two banks of four, allow Gargo and Payne to offer a little bit of pressure to Arsenal. If they do turn the ball over, they've got that counter threat, and I think bringing in Mamiki today will give them a little bit more going forwards, which I think is an interesting decision after executing the brilliant game plan against Chelsea that worked massively, to then go for a more offensive lineup against Arsenal, who are also another top quality side, is an interesting decision from Sorensen. It's very, very bold to change what worked perfectly last Sunday. But
I think it's the same lineup, isn't it?
Is it not? Oh, yeah, I thought, okay.
It's the same 11. Whether or not it is the same team in that possession, it remains to be seen, but it is the same 11.
Oh, okay, fair enough then. So maybe he is looking to keep it the same and
I think
and go
they've
perfect.
finally found something that won a game of football.
True.
Don't change it.
Yeah, I don't remember a couple of those players starting last week, but I think that probably speaks volumes to how it's not individual for Everton. It's about how they perform as a team. If they can be regimented and work together and be disciplined, they'll make it difficult for Arsenal. But
to be fair, after the 12th minute, it didn't get to the attackers for Everton. They
is,
scored their goal, and that was all they needed to do.
That is very true. But yeah, Everton, we know what they can do. We know they can cause a problem today. But Arsenal, who have made changes themselves, do look pretty strong today and will fancy themselves to get a result, regardless of how Everton play.
Well, let's take a look then at that Arsenal team. In goal, it's Borba, who has had a shaky start to life for Arsenal, for coming in with the injuries to Van Domslat and Zinsberger. In the back four, Fox, Wuemoy, Catley and Katie McCabe. Seems like the full-strength backline with Leah Williamson making the bench today. In the midfield pivot, it is Cooney Cross alongside Kim Little. I know. Let's hit the acceleration buttons because it's Mariona Caldente. It looks at least like in the 10. On one wing, it's Mead. On the other, Caitlin Ford. And leading the line, Alessia Russo. We have said all season, when are we going to see Canate in the 10? I don't want to get my hopes up too much. I wouldn't be surprised if this looks something like a midfield 3, if Cooney Cross in the 10, if somehow Russo's in the 10. But it looks, at least on paper, that Mariona Canate is playing in the 10 position.
I can't believe it. I never thought we'd see the day, but that could be huge for Slagers and for Arsenal. She's finally realised where best to play Mariona Canate. We have spent too long watching one of the best creators in the world play in defensive midfield. If she's further up the pitch today, that could cause Everton all kinds of problems, and it could really help Arsenal break that Everton backline down. If you've got Canate in the pocket, in the half space, making things happen. But it's a good team. I think that the midfield looks much better, that composition. Kim Little coming back in also to start is a big boost for Arsenal as their captain. But yeah, overall, I look at this Arsenal side and I think it's very, very strong. I'll be intrigued to see how they get on. I thought Mead was very good in the week against Twente, so hopefully she can continue that form. But yeah, I think this is the first time this season where I look at an Arsenal 11 and I haven't got too many complaints or problems with it.
Yeah, I think, a few comments in live chat, which we'll go through. Phil says, hi all, the midfield looks a bit more functional today. I think that's absolutely true. It should look a lot stronger than it has in recent weeks. H as well of an Arsenal persuasion saying, Mariona 10 is all I asked for, and I've gotten it indeed. Renee Slagers granting Christmas wishes early this year and says, just baffled as why Smith can't get a run of games. I think if you are looking at the Arsenal side today, I mean, obviously they can't have too much creativity at once with Canate potentially higher up the pitch, but I think with Ford and Mead, they are two wingers who are good at holding the width well, but are they going to be decisive enough? Hopefully, what we see from Arsenal today is that they're going to hold the width really well, and then that will allow Caldente to operate in those creative pockets. That's what we're hoping to see.
Yeah, very much so. I think that also on the case of Smith and just in general for Arsenal, when you are a big club, you have to rotate. And to be fair, Olivia Smith started the game last weekend against Liverpool and started the game on Wednesday night against Twente. So back-to-back starts for Smith. In terms of balancing those minutes, you don't want you're probably your best winger to play 3 games in the space of 7 days. That's a lot of loads, so I can understand why she is dropped today, especially because I thought on Wednesday she was just getting kicked lumps out of by those 20 defenders. So I can understand what H is saying. Of course, you want to see your best players play every single game, but I think when you are a top side, you have to balance those minutes, and it's one of those where with Smith starting the last 2 games, it makes sense for Ford to come back in for this one. Although you have got the winter break coming up, so you could also argue that play Smith one more and then you've got a break. But yeah, it's all about rotation. You've got to balance the minutes, got to keep people happy, and of course we know that Caitlin Ford and Beth Mead are very capable of getting the job done today.
Equally, not really a break for Arsenal after this game, because they play Champions League in the week, which is still an important match, though it's very unlikely they'd get knocked out at this stage. There is still a very slim chance of that happening. And then they've got a League Cup quarter-final, which, yes, it's Crystal Palace, and that should be a nicer game, but that's still 2 more fixtures Arsenal have to handle after this week. So perhaps that's why we're seeing a little bit of rotation. Another thing I want to touch on, Stina Blackstenius not starting again today. With Everton probably playing a low block, you can understand the rationale behind that. But with the form that Blackstenius is in and the lack of form Russo is in domestically, would you not be tempted to play Blackstenius regardless?
Yeah, it's a really difficult one. I think that for me personally, I would go with the form. I think everyone will view it differently, but personally, I think if a player's playing well, you've got to reward them with starts. Stina Blackstenius is Arsenal's top goal scorer in the league this season with 5 goals. You can't argue against that. As good as Alessia Russo can be, she's not on it right now. Blackstenius is. So, of course, they play different games, and as you say, against a low block, is Blackstenius going to be, will she just be stifled if she was going to start? Potentially, but I still think you have to reward form, and if anything, you use Blackstenius to try and drag Everton out, and then you do have that threat over the top. And if I'm Everton and I'm Brian Sorensen, I'm looking at that and I'm saying, okay, Blackstenius isn't starting, so let's try and get a bit higher. Let's try and get out of our half a little bit and go at Arsenal, and then if Blackstenius comes on, we can drop off. So it'll be interesting how Everton react to that. But yeah, personally, I agree. I think that for your top goal scorer in the league this season to not be starting, for your informed striker to be benched once again, for me that is an interesting decision. Of course, Alessia Russo is Alessia Russo and is a quality forward, one of the best strikers in the world on her day, but she hasn't been on her day so far this season, or we haven't seen that the consistency from Russo. So to keep rewarding her a start over Blackstenius, I think it's a bit harsh on Stina because she's done really well this season.
Yeah, I think Blackstenius, because Russo's now started 3 in a row, you'd expect Blackstenius will likely play argue or could play Wednesday and then again on Sunday. So potentially just, I think when you look at how the opposition are going to play today, you'd expect everything to be incredibly deep. So I think tactically it does make more sense to play Russo. But I guess that is the argument really, is that do you want to go for the player who's in better form, or do you want to go for the player who's a better tactical fit for this game? I do think, especially if you're playing Caldente in the 10 though, having someone like Russo who will be able to receive the ball from the midfield players and then drop it back in to someone like a Caldente can be really useful. And Russo's hold-up game is some of her strongest, or one of her strongest assets. That's really important. We did notice, though, in the game in the week, is that Alessia Russo wasn't dropping deep as much as she used to. In fact, I think she had one of her lowest touches of the season, despite the fact Arsenal dictated a lot of the tempo. So potentially we're going to see Russo be a little bit more of a box presence and dropping deep less. I still expect to see her dropping deep occasionally. All the best strikers do. But it does make sense more to have her as that focal point and then linking up and being that sort of hold-up striker in the final third. And Phil says, nobody in this 11 is a proper off-the-ball runner. That's my big worry today. Yeah, I mean, that is the problem, I think, inherently with Arsenal's midfield this season, is that if you've got a very physical team, like an Everton, for example, and Arsenal push too high, how are they going to be able to recover? Because they don't really have sort of a defensive midfielder like a Leovalti, who is really good at sort of disrupting those attacks and intercepting, and then perhaps launching a counter-attack. I don't think their wingers are particularly good at tracking back. They are too reliant, in my opinion, Arsenal, on Emily Fox. Because Fox is just an incredible recoverer. The recovery runs in behind make up for the fact the centre-backs often get caught out.
Yeah, exactly that. I think Fox has been immense for Arsenal, but she's only been immense because she's had a lot to do, you feel. And we, as you say, constantly watching her make those recoveries. I think that Arsenal do lack that real workhorse of a player. You know, I think Chelsea have got Erin Cuthbert, but when you take Erin Cuthbert out, you look at the Everton game, for example. City, of course, they've got Yu Hasegawa, who covers every single blade of grass that ever existed on a football pitch. And you need that kind of player who isn't going to stop running, is going to work really hard, and is going to get stuck into the game.
Yeah, when you see Hasegawa's heat map, it is just a brick of red.
Yeah.
You think that it's broken for some reason, but yeah, that is what Arsenal needs. That sort of defensive midfielder who can cover a lot of yards, is a brilliant interceptor, but also very good on the ball. That's what I think they should be going for. That's what they did have in Leovalti. They've moved away from that. But it will be interesting to see if they do look in the market either in January or next summer for someone who is that sort of profile of midfielder. Well, players coming out from the tunnel, so let's dive into scoreline predictions. If you're watching along in the live chat, get involved. Let us know your scoreline prediction. I'll make sure to read them out for reference at the poll at the moment. 23% backing the hosts Everton to win today. 61% going for Arsenal. I would be surprised if that doesn't go up throughout the stream. And 16% going for a draw. So actually a bit more split than perhaps we expected. We're going to start with our predictions in the studio, though, and we'll start with yourself, Harry. What's your prediction as Everton host Arsenal?
I think it's a really difficult one. I think Everton will give it a good go, but I am going to say the Gunners to win this game. Again, I think quality will prevail and they'll find a way through the Everton defence. I will say Everton 1, Arsenal 2. I think it will be a tight one, but similar to last week against Liverpool, Arsenal will just about get it over the line and get another 3 points on the board. I think it'll be a fast start for the Toffees and it'll be a goal from Kelly Gargo on the break to kind of stun Arsenal a little bit, but a good second half comeback with goals from Alessia Russo to equalise, and then I'll say Stina Blacksenius off the bench to rescue Arsenal once again and kind of say to René Slagers, you need to start me. Another goal for Blacksenius, 2-1 win for Arsenal, but a spirited performance from Everton.
Yeah, I feel like I've got no idea how this is going to go. It's quite easy to predict that sort of Everton upset again. I just don't know if it's going to happen. I think Arsenal have looked slightly better in recent weeks. I think the selection today for the visitors is slightly stronger than what we've seen. And I think Caldente in that 10 role will flourish. So I'm going to say an Arsenal win. I'm going to go for Arsenal 3, Everton 1. I just don't see Arsenal keeping a clean sheet at the moment. I think they are too vulnerable. And if Twente had offered anything in attacking areas, I think they probably would have found a goal in the midweek. We saw Liverpool score as well last weekend, the lowest scoring team, I believe, in the WSL. So they have got some defensive issues, Arsenal, especially without their starting keepers. I think they'll concede, but I think it will be a fairly comfortable 3-1 win. I think it'll be Kelly Gargo to score for Everton. I think it could well be her last goal and last game in Everton blue, as there is rumours she could make a move this January. Then for Arsenal, I think it'll be a Mariona Caldente brace, and then she'll assist. I'm going to say She'll set up Beth Mead for the goal.
Like
Nice
it.
little ball in behind Mead. Meets at the back post. A fairly comfortable win. I think we'll see exactly why Caldente should be playing high up the pitch. I think it'll be a goal from outside the box. That's sort of her vintage. A dink ball in behind and a penalty. And we'll all be raving again about why Mariana Caldente is absolutely incredible. Few predictions in the live chat then. Shell, welcome to the stream. Good to see an Everton fan saying 2-1 and come on, you Toffees. Phil saying, I'm going with a big win, tight early on, but I think we'll get a few late goals and finish 4-1. Phil is an Arsenal fan, by the way. He's not an Everton fan. He's incredibly optimistic. Branny saying 2-0 Arsenal as well. So keep those predictions coming in as we're about to get underway here at Goodison Park. What should be a very exciting game today.
Yeah, Everton looking to beat Chelsea and Arsenal in the same season for the first time since 2011.
And there we go. That is one hell of a stat to start today's show. So we wait now for Arsenal to get us underway. It's Russo from the middle, knocks it back. We're underway here at Goodison Park. Everton take on Arsenal in this early Saturday morning WSL kickoff. McCabe looking to go down the line, in behind immediately to Russo. That's going to bounce through to Courtney Brosnan. And Brosnan, someone we didn't touch on much in the build-up to this game, but such a key part of the Everton side. We saw it last weekend with some stunning saves to deny Chelsea players. If Everton are going to get a result today, she's going to be absolutely crucial again.
Yeah, exactly that. She was so good last weekend, and we spoke about it during that Chelsea game that it's much easier as a defender when you know you've got a goalkeeper behind you who you trust and a goalkeeper that you can rely on to make saves. In these kind of games against the big teams, you know you're going to face shots on target. Arsenal will test Brosnan at some point today, and it's reassuring for Everton and for Brian Simonson that they know they can trust Brosnan to make those saves and to keep them in the game.
Catley down the line into Mariana Caldente. Now Catley looking for the forward option. Caldente back to Steph Catley. So it's interesting to see how this is going to function on the left-hand side. We're still seeing Caldente drop in a little bit. Almost looks like it'd be more of a midfield 3 to free McCabe up to be a bit more aggressive today. Here is Caldente receiving it well. That pass out to the left-hand side was optimistic, though. Miki will intercept it, but it's going to fall into possession of Lotta Wubben-Moy. Here's Mead under pressure, forced back to Borba, getting her first touch of the game. And Arsenal will look to play out to the left-hand side. Here's Catley carrying the ball forwards. Options to poke through into the half space. Goes back to McCabe, who slots it inside to Cooney Cross. And she's now looking to switch the play. It's a lovely pass out to the right-hand side. Here's Fox. Now Kim Little. What can they make happen in this sort of area? Fox. Back to Little. Fox. Now Mead, who has dropped in. Fox down the line. Caldente makes the run off the shoulder. Now looks to cut it back. Looking for Ford. That's a great challenge from Ruby Mace. Gets in front of the ball. Gets good connection on it. And gets it clear.
Yeah, really good from Mace. Again, another player that was outstanding in that win over Chelsea last weekend. But Everton just got to be careful there. You can't allow Mariana Caldente to drift into that kind of wide area by herself.
Ball inside there for Caitlin Ford. Dragging her shot well wide, though.
Yeah, early, good start from Arsenal. It's positive, exactly what they need to do. You're coming away to a side who have just come off a massive high. You need to be assertive. You need to be on the front foot and look to put them under pressure immediately. Don't give Everton anything to work with. If you turn up and you're weak and you allow Everton to bully you off the ball, you're going to give them hope that they can go out and pull off another upset. If Arsenal can start fast here and get an early goal, that will just kind of kill off any enthusiasm that Everton have that they can believe that they can go on to win this game. You can't allow Everton to be more physical and get involved in this game.
Brosnan passed through the lines there into Hayashi. And now Mace, who looks to carry it up the line. No room there, though. We'll go back to Courtney Brosnan. Fizzes it forward into Vignola. Tries to get a flick on in there, but it drops into possession of Arsenal once again. Here is Wubben-Moy. Looking for the forward option. Now McCabe spreads it wide to Catley. The two have just inverted positions for the moment. McCabe in this central role. Plays it through, looking for Caldente, and almost dispossessed there, Caldente, but does squeeze it back to McCabe. And the two exchange once again. Now forward pass into Ford. McCabe knocks it inside to Little, who turns out, drills a pass into Cooney Cross. Now spreads it wide. Fox. Wider still into Mead, who holds the width nicely. Mead. Little. And now with Moy. I think once again what we're going to see here today is a test of Arsenal's ability to break down a low block. That's a crucial intervention there from Hikaru Kitagawa. Now looking to hit the line as Gar goes in behind, and she'll battle away with Woo Moy, who does just enough to hold on to that ball and plays it forward into Cooney Cross, and Arsenal again in possession.
Yeah, Arsenal are doing well at the moment just to keep the ball moving, even if they're not really going anywhere. Because if someone receives the ball and just stands on it and waits for Everton to do something, you're not going to get. But just keep that ball moving. Don't let this game become slow or to a standstill. Just keep popping it off between each other.
Now here's Ford. I think they've got to move the ball quicker regardless, though. You've got to drag Everton's players out. It's too easy to go and close it down when they play so slowly. Caldente. Now Little. Back to Caldente. Tries to feed it through. Wait on that pass, though. Too Little. Given away in there by Vignola, but she battles away and wins it back. Now looking to play it in behind. All over the top. With Moy under pressure from Gargo. But cool, calm, collected. Plays it forward into Fox. Through the lines into Russo. Receives it well with her back to goal. That's behind Steph Catley, and that's going to slow everything down once again.
Yeah, key battle that, though, over on the far side of the pitch between Gargo and Woo Moy. Woo Moy's done well so far to just be patient and measured. As soon as you start scrambling and diving in against Gargo, she's got you exactly where she wants you.
Here from Catley looking for Russo. Can't quite trap that ball. And Brosnan now will collect it for the first time in this game. Maybe we'll see an Everton spell of possession.
Yeah, I think Sorensen will be happy. Again, it's a good disciplined start from Everton. They're doing well. Just sitting in and not letting Arsenal progress too far up the pitch. But as you say, I think they'd like to have a bit more of the ball and a chance to get forward.
It's Kitagawa, who does well there to get around Fox. Fox, though, recovers and then knocks it back.
It's probably the one player I wouldn't try and take on in your own defence. That is Emily Fox. Try and progress the ball, try and play positively, but that's not the way to do it.
Yeah, I think Everton are very central today, but if you can get Payne in behind McCabe, that's where you're going to hurt Arsenal. Similar, actually, to Chelsea, when they're able to sort of get that ball in behind because of how high McCabe wants to play, and I don't think Catley's the quickest player anymore. If you can get into that wide channel on the right-hand side for Everton's attack, they can hurt Arsenal today. So, it's just about executing almost the exact same game plan as the Chelsea game. Caldente. Trying to knock it inside. Does now find Ford. Breaking into the penalty area. Shimmies it onto her right foot. Mace, though, charges down the shot. And it's one back in there by Mamiki. Everton trying to play forward. Mamiki, though, doesn't see a forward option. Just panics and gives it back to Arsenal. Mead. With Moy. That one there for Mamiki, it's one of those where she's just poked it forward. If she just puts her foot through it forwards, you kill a little bit more time, you push Arsenal back a little bit, but instead, she just gives it straight back to Arsenal.
Yeah.
I think Everton have got to be smart today with how they manage the game, especially in moments like that. Here's McCabe, a lot of space out wide to use, pokes it inside to Caldente, who's going to go back to McCabe. Now Caldente. And it's back to Steph Catley. Caldente, he's got space to work with here on the edge of the box. Plays it into Little. Now Mead, back towards Kim Little. Ishikawa will get there. And Mace hooks it clear. Everton have also got to try and find Gargo to feet, I think. Or at least she needs to be making that run in behind if they're going to try and knock it in behind every time. Ford. Mamiki there tries to take that ball off Cooney Cross, but Cooney Cross rides the contact well. Now Caldente on the edge of the box, shifts it wide into McCabe, opens up for the cross. Payne, though, puts her off attempting it. Now it's with Little. Catley. Back to Kim Little. Pocket of space to her to work with here. We'll try and lift it towards that back post. Mead will get their shot on target. Big opportunity for Arsenal, but it's straight at Brosnan.
Wow, really good move from Arsenal, who have dominated the opening proceedings here. It's a lovely ball in from Little in the perfect spot, and Mead just times that run perfectly, and really shouldn't be getting out jumped there at the back post.
Well, I think this is a thing we've seen with Kitagawa all season. She's not particularly good in the air. I mean, we saw it in the Manchester United game where she got it all wrong, headed it past her own goalkeeper in that one. And I think, if you can get Mead, who's not the tallest, but if you can get her in those sort of aerial one-on-ones, she is going to win it. And that was a brilliant ball from Kim Little, showing that creative side we've not really seen of her yet this season.
Just popped up there, by the way. As that Mead shot came in, Arsenal had 96% of the possession in the first 8 minutes. Everton have not had a kick.
Well, Everton have made 5 passes.
I don't think I've ever seen
9
that before.
minutes.
I don't think I've ever seen 5 passes in 9 minutes from a football team.
Whereas Arsenal have made 120.
That is ridiculous. But again, it's 0-0.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. You can have 96% of the ball, but
that's very early in the game.
Of course it is. But also the possession will go down as the chances go up, so it will balance it out a little bit. I've just never seen a football team have 96% of the ball outside of the first 30 seconds.
Everton here working the touchline well. That's why I was just waiting, because it was like 95% after 5 minutes. I thought the data just needed to catch up. Vignola now tries to poke it through. Was caught there by Wooben Moy. Nothing too malicious, and the referee sees no issue with it. Arsenal still in possession. Catley here under pressure. Wooben Moy plays inside to Cooney Cross. I think as well, Everton need to give Arsenal the ball in their own third more. Because Arsenal have struggled to play out from the back at times this season. Catley. Carrying it now up the pitch with Moy.
This is the problem. Everton are jogging off them and allowing the defenders to just bring the ball 20 yards out the pitch.
It down the channel. Russo's going to get there. Can she find a cutback to Mariona Caldente? And that's, I think, blocked by her own player there. Caitlin Ford tried to touch it on. McCabe takes aim, and that is an absolute beauty from Katie McCabe. Picks it up on the edge of the box, strikes it sweetly, and Arsenal take the advantage away at Goodison Park. And we've not seen enough of McCabe in attacking areas this season. We've not seen her best. But that is one hell of an effort from Katie McCabe.
Brilliant strike from McCabe and Arsenal. That is a big reward. Deserved goal. Deserved lead. Really good football. Down the right-hand side. Russo does the right thing. Picks out Caldente, who just was not tracked. And as you say, I think it was blocked by Caitlin Ford. And the ball just fell to Mead here. It was a good block in the end from Ishikawa, but it just falls to McCabe so nicely on the bounce. You can see that where she exactly wants to put it.
Yeah.
And just loops it into that corner.
Perfect shot from McCabe. Stepped up to it well. It's all about that chest down as well, because it takes just the right amount of weight off of it. Any more, and it's, you're softening it too much, and then you've got to get it out of the feet. If it's a looser touch, it's going to be further away, but it puts it in the perfect position. And then the strike is excellent from McCabe. Arsenal lead here by a 0-0. And Everton, so many confusing things in that moment. No one reacts quick enough to Rousseau picking up the ball. The fact that Ornella Vignola is the one tracking the run of Mariona Caldente is just utterly bizarre. And yeah, I mean, Arsenal capitalising fully. Ball in behind. Here's Payne. Definitely gone too early. And that is offside.
Yeah, it's not quite played out for Everton as well as they wanted to. Last week at Chelsea, they had a bit more. Chelsea made the errors and that allowed Everton to have a bit more of the game.
But I mean, there's not having the ball, and there's not even knowing there's a ball on the pitch.
Yeah,
they're too. Everton. You can play without possession, but the fact that they have not even, not even completely double digits for passes yet, they're just they're not in this at the moment.
They're not even at a pass a minute.
No.
That is absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, Arsenal
launches it forwards, headed away by Fernandez, and now it's with Mamiki, who looked to try and make something happen, though little. Wins it back with ease. Catley back to Borba. Now McCabe, who's under pressure, plays it into Caldente. That's a poor pass. Here's Ornella Vignola. Now it's a chance for Mamiki for red. What a hit! What a strike! And I think it was Hanoka Hayashi in there. That is phenomenal. After McCabe hit a screamer at one end, Hayashi with another brilliant goal, and it was Caldente caught in the deep position. Everton capitalised fully, and that from Hanoka Hayashi is incredible.
Not even completed more than 10 passes in this game, Everton. But as you say, Arsenal trying to play out. Caldente makes the error, gives it straight to Vignola, who plays it across to Hayashi, and no one gets nearer. Of course it's a brilliant strike. Of course it's a great hit. But Hayashi has had so much time there to put it exactly where she wants it. And they've not had a kick in this game yet, Everton. But they respond immediately. And Arsenal, after a perfect start, a perfect goal from McCabe, that will feel like a real stink. And Everton will be very, very happy with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, Caldente is going to catch a lot of criticism for that, and rightfully so. That is really poor in that position. But the reaction from the rest of the Arsenal fans is so laboured. Arsenal coming forwards here, looking to right that wrong. This game has become very interesting so early. Ford lifts it into the box, headed away by Hikaru Kitagawa. Catley now into Fox, knocks it wide to Mead, back to Fox. Mead. Play down the line, that's poked away well though by Kitagawa. Braxis didn't think the clean sheet would go like that. Well, yeah, I think Arsenal have given away the ball too many times in those sort of positions this season. Punished for it, absolutely there by Hayashi.
I know she doesn't usually make mistakes, but that's also why you put Kante further up the pitch, because then she shouldn't be in that zone. I
think this season that pivot has made so many mistakes. Fox, ball into the box now, completely unmarked. It's little Russo deflects it, big save, and it is Caitlin Ford in the perfect position to capitalise. What is going on in this game? Defending is simply a concept to these two teams. Neither of them are actually doing it, and that was too easy for Caitlin Ford to smash home the rebound.
Really poor from Everton once again. And I think I'll be intrigued to see whether Russo's one went in first. But either way, Everton all over the place and Arsenal punished. Kim Little got the volley all wrong in the box. It was unchested towards goal by Russo, which I think may have gone in anyway, but didn't matter. Ford was there to smash home the rebound. We'll get a look here.
That's criminal. How is Little so unmarked? It's clawed off the line.
No, it had gone in, yeah. Linesman gave it. So Russo will go down, will get the goal for that from her chest because it had crossed the line anyway. But no matter
I don't think it did cross the line, but
that's what will go down.
We can't see, but yeah, it doesn't really matter either way. It's in the back of the net.
Yeah.
The only person who'll be a bit annoyed is Caitlin Ford because I think she'd quite like that to Italian. Sky Sports are going to give it to her anyway. So, and that's picked off again. And this is terrible from Everton. Caldente to Russo, should score, makes with a brilliant recovery tackle. But this is getting silly. Everton so disciplined, so regimented against Chelsea last Sunday. But what on earth are we watching here? No one's tracking runners. No one's picking up players. Arsenal are going to have a field day if this continues.
This is carnage. This game is absolute carnage. But, I mean, overall, out of all of that, with kind of the outcome, Arsenal lead by a goal, which is probably deserved. Yeah. But what a mental few minutes. 3 goals in, 6 minutes there?
4 minutes.
4 minutes.
McKay scored in the 11th.
Oh, my God.
Actually in the 13th. Ford in the 15th.
Ridiculous stuff. What a start to this game. But, yeah, really poor from Everton. 2 really poor goals. That one there, Kitagawa was diving in all over the place on the left-hand side, got completely done.
And then Kim Little. I mean, who is Claire Wheeler marking?
Yeah.
Thin air. Kim Little's strike, don't get me wrong, was really poor, but Russo could capitalise on it. Catley now to McCabe, who delivers it in towards the back post. Cooney cross takes aim, and that's blocked by Mace, because once again, completely unmarked to take a strike in the box. This is shooting practice for Arsenal at this rate. Where are Everton in this game? That would have been in if not for Ruby Mace.
Wow.
Such a crucial block. Everton are all over the place.
It's a huge touch. Ruby Mace seems like the only person in a blue shirt that wants to defend today. Another huge block to save her side because Brosnan was rooted. But Everton, as you say, really need to wake up here. They were given a lifeline by that Hayashi goal to get back into it. Threw it away almost immediately from the kickoff. And now Arsenal look like they're going to run right from here.
Mead, McKay, back to Mead. Tries to play it forward. One back in there by Wheeler, who gets it clear. But yeah, Everton have got to fix up and sharp because while it's only 2-1, if this continues, it's going to be 5-1. And I think Courtney Brosnan's gone down there for the right reason. Everton need a tactical break.
Yeah, Sorensen knows his side are getting a bit carried away. It's all right for us as fans to sit here and go crazy over it. But I think Everton have also lost their heads a little bit. But yes, that will go down as Russo's goal.
I think that's kind from the line now. I don't think that's crossed the line, but we don't have a great angle.
No.
And
it was given on field.
Thank God Ishikawa didn't handball that because it was probably going to go in anyway. It looks like she tried to swipe at it with her hand.
Yeah.
But there we go. Nine says, what have I missed? Mistakes at both ends, really, costing goals. Everton, I mean, Arsenal have dictated the tempo. Don't get me wrong, they definitely deserve to be in the lead here, but both their goals have come from pretty blatant defensive errors from Everton. And at the other end, Mariana Caldente giving away possession too easily. Arsenal failed to react, and Hayashi slashed home what was an equaliser, which was immediately then counted for nothing As Everton fell apart defensively and Russo chested home a goal.
Yeah, I think it sums up Leslie Russo's game at the moment, because that is her 5th goal in the OSL this season. It now takes her to as joint with Blacksenius in the league. And it's one of those where she still has been scoring goals, but I mean, things like that. No, don't get me wrong, Russo is obviously a very, very good striker, but that goal there, Kim Little has just volleyed the ball at her chest and it's ricochet off her and got in the goal.
But I mean, you look at who she scored against this season. It was a double against West Ham in the last 5 minutes. And that was when they decided to throw on 6 strikers, which went horribly wrong, obviously. She scored against West Ham. She scored against Leicester then. In the adding a 7th, scoring the first goal in that game, and she scored against Chelsea as well. So, yeah, she's done well to capitalise on opportunities, but I think that is the problem: is she's not being consistent enough or offering enough up front.
Yeah. And as for Everton, I mean, this is why they're such a confusion. This is why they are so low in the table. But this is why I think it's a really difficult one to talk about, because the performance last week against Chelsea was a performance that could easily keep you in the league and, put them around mid-table. But then it's games like this where you look at how they're playing and you can see why they should be in a relegation fight, because this compared to last week has just been a catalogue of errors. It's just been terrible. They've barely had a kick, and when they have had a kick, they've scored a goal from it. But it's one of those where without that Arsenal mistake, they'd be 2-0 down, maybe even more. And yeah, I think that I've never seen such a sheer drop off in performance between 2 games back to back, against very similar opposition. Of course, Arsenal are a very, very good side, but so are Chelsea. And for Everton to drop that standard by the amount they have, it's just staggering. I've never, you don't see it like that ever. I think Sorensen will be a very, very frustrated man on that sideline.
Yeah, I mean, he clearly wants to have discipline, organisation in that defence, and we've not seen that structure today at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why they sent Brosnan down. We'll see now if that has made any difference. Fox bringing that ball forwards well. Russo. Now with Mead. Back to Moy. That's back out wide to Mead. Fox. Mead back to Fox. And across now to Steph Catley. Knocks it into McCabe. Wider now to Ford. McCabe. Little. Back to Catley. Ford. Catley puts the ball into the box, and that's touched towards goal by Russo. Not a bad effort, but Brosnan able to get down to that well.
Yeah, Russo does well to poke it goalwards. Very difficult one to take, especially if she wanted to take that on her right foot. Could have used her left, but not a bad effort. Well read by Brosnan. Was it Phil who went for 4-1 Arsenal? I think that could be about right at this rate, although maybe that's too few goals.
Ryan's changed their prediction, or didn't give a prediction, so they've gone for 5-3 Arsenal.
Yeah, that could also
be right.
Yeah, that's a great one.
It's interesting. I think this has been a much better attacking performance from Arsenal, but it's the same thing that we've seen all season, really, where Arsenal had some good attack performances. West Ham, I thought, was a good attack performance. London City, Leicester as well. Yeah. But again, it's very difficult then to judge: are they just good at being attacking against teams who aren't great defensively? It is difficult to assess. I still think Arsenal's problem is low blocks. Makes it, they're not very good at breaking down low blocks. I think they'd be okay today because they've got someone like Mariano Caldente higher up the pitch, but still, it's interesting to see. Wheeler back now to Mace. Wants to carry this forwards, looking for a forward option. Now across to Fernandez. Back to Brosnan, who's high up the pitch. Now Mace. Back to Brosnan. Everton tempting fate as Arsenal put them under pressure. Mace into Wheeler. Knocks it down the line. And Ishikawa tries to get the touch on there, but it's come off McCabe, and that's out for a throw. Brian says, wonder why Catley and McCabe are switching so much on attack. Yeah, I'm very confused by that as well. Not really sure why McCabe's dropping into left centre half and Catley going to left back. The only thing could be, has McCabe got a knock, but then surely you just play Taylor Hines. So yeah. Been intrigued as to why we've not seen McCabe in that higher position all season, to be honest.
And look what she does when she gets there.
Well, absolutely. But I think defensively, I don't think McCabe is up there as one of the best in the league, but she's a fantastic creator. And I think the fact Arsenal aren't making more of that, it is bizarre to me. They always use a left winger who wants to hold the width. I would use a left winger who wants to cut inside, and then allow McCabe to hold the width.
Yeah.
Maybe someone like a Mariona Caldente. I don't know. Call me crazy, but that could work really well. Here is Emily Fox carrying the ball forwards. Knocks it out wide to Mead. Back down the line to Fox. Lovely give and go. Arsenal coming forwards well again here. Hayashi traps the run well, though, off the American fullback. And now she needs support. Mead. This is more what we'd expect to see from Everton. Much more disciplined. There don't appear to be so many gaps in the structure. Lovely turn there from Kim Little. Knocks it wide to McCabe. Now it's Ford. Little. Looking now to create an opportunity. Dinks it in towards the back post. Kitagawa gets this well. And now Ford. Back to Caldente. A touch a bit heavy though. Back to Little. Caldente. Arsenal here. Looking to create the opportunity. And Mead is brought down the edge of the box. That will be an Arsenal free kick. You can see what they're trying to do, Arsenal, and it's working. This gap between... When it goes out to the left-hand side, pay attention to the gap between Ishikawa and Mace. There is so much space in that pocket. And if someone makes the burst into that position, that's where Arsenal create chances then, in that half space. At the moment, Ishikawa's going out wide to press it, and no one's really pushing into that space. Either Mace has got to get out there, or someone's got to drop deeper. So yeah, they've just got to be mindful of that at the moment, Everton. Really, you'd want Ishikawa to drop into that space and the winger to trap the run of the fullback, but at the moment they're just getting overwhelmed too easily, Everton. Arsenal doubling up on that left-hand side. Right, so someone's going to be asking for goal line tech again then. What after, Russo given that goal, it didn't look over the line from the angles we've seen. The liner, though, had a much better view than us, so, you kind of have to give them the benefit of the doubt on that one, but yeah, we'll see. Arsenal here from the edge of the box, free kick. Few players over this then who could strike it. You would think it would be McCabe or Caldente, but Mead and Russo are also stood over it.
I think I've seen 4 people. Now, okay, Mead's now moved away, so there's 3
and
of
Everton
them
have left her completely unmarked. If this is just past to Beth Mead, she's just going to score. Shot from McCabe. Mead then probably should have done better with that.
Well, it nearly worked quite well.
Out for a corner. Well, yeah, if they passed it, it was McCabe. Yeah, McCabe's effort wasn't great. Yeah, it dropped blocks to Mead, and Mead probably could have just taken the shot on.
Yeah, really poor free kick from McCabe. As we said, drills it into the shins of the Everton wall, but fell nicely for Mead. He just didn't quite catch it with any gusto.
I think McCabe's got to put that high. I don't know why she's tried to go, under the wall. Ball in now from Beth Mead, headed away. Going to drop in there. It's a game of headers, but it's a game that Ishikawa wins. And Vignola can get it clear. Chested down by Cooney Cross. Caldente. Cooney Cross. Caldente. Cooney Cross. Lovely exchange of passes between the two of them. Now with Russo, who's pulled wide to get involved, puts it into the box, and it's once again Ruby Mace in there who makes the first contact and knocks it out for a corner.
Just incredible. Mace feels like she's absolutely everywhere in this one, and is doing very, very well to do a lot of defending when her teammates aren't.
4 players' job at the moment.
Yeah. It's been a good performance from Mace once again today. As you say, not being helped out by the rest of her back 4.
Yeah. So McCabe over this. It looks like Arsenal once again going to get her to put this into the 6-yard box. It's lifted in towards the front post. This time spills from Brosnan. But she does then claim the second ball. And that's interesting because a lot of Arsenal's corners against Twente were hung towards the back post. Interesting to see that switch today. I think Liverpool was a similar story. They were hanging them towards the back post. I don't know if that was just under hit.
Yeah,
would make more sense, but they may have switched towards looking at that front post. Fernandez lifting out to the right hand side. Ford's going to get in front of that one. Mace on hand to win it back. He knocks out a play for an Arsenal throw.
I really don't get that from Fernandez. You're 2-1 down to Arsenal. You're under pressure. your team have barely had a kick of the ball, and you try one of the most audacious passes out to your right back. Bearing in mind Fernandez is playing as the left centre half, she tries to switch the play to the right back, floating ball across the penalty area. I just don't understand that decision there at all. Play the risk free, play it safe. If you're under pressure and you think you're going to lose it, just kick out for a throw.
Pass forward, lets it run through to Russo. Russo spins the defender, should score. Brilliant save from Brosnan. And Russo should score that. Got to be a better shot. She does well. She pushes it. She goes for that wide space to the left of Brosnan. There's a lot of the goal to aim for, but she just puts it too central.
Yeah.
She's got to open it up, open her body up more and strike around it.
The turn.
Great save.
The turn to spin Fernandez was absolutely brilliant. And just seemed to slip as she took it and was a bit too straight. But Brosnan once again with a big save to keep Everton in it.
It's one of those where it's both a great save and a bad miss.
Yeah.
I think for Russo, a player of her quality should put that away 9 times out of 10. Just puts it a little bit too central. McCabe, ball in, Russo unmarked, but that just too high. Misjudges the flight of that ball slightly and heads it out of play.
Yeah, that's where Arsenal want to put the corners. Again, as you say, back post, looking for the unmarked player.
Well, you see this sort of flood of red shirts. And we're not going to get... I thought we were going to get a replay there. Unfortunately not. We're going to see Russo's miss again. But you see that sort of flood of red shirts making the run from the back post towards the front post. That's going to draw Everton to that place. The ball then goes to the back post. And you can see Arsenal creating a lot of space there. So, yeah, it's just about a lot of movement, a lot of confusion in there. I'm sure Nicholas Jover's had a word.
Yeah.
And imposed his set-piece superiority on everyone at the club. Ball out now for an Everton throw-in on the far side. Kitagawa plays it forward into Wheeler, who's going to lift it in behind, looking for Gargo. That comes off Wubamoy and is out for an Everton throw-in, which Arsenal seem to be incredibly surprised by. But there we go. Yeah, stats in this game. Arsenal the dominant force. Everton yet to have a touch in the Arsenal penalty area. Arsenal was 17 so far. And 17, the same amount of possession as Everton have had in this game. While Arsenal, 83% of the ball.
I don't think I've ever seen a side who have scored a goal without having a touch in the opposition box. That is incredible.
Yeah, it's rare that they just don't get forwards at all, but they have scored the one opportunity they had.
Everton are really breaking some records here, and we are seeing some crazy statistics that I don't think we rarely ever see, but they're all not good reflections on Brian Sorensen and his team.
No. Here is Fox. Now, Cooney cross. The fluidity in this Arsenal midfield as well is so good. Cooney cross knocks it wide. That's behind Ford, though. They can't quite make that one count. But what they're doing really nicely at the moment is that midfield three is able to sort of exchange places so often. And that fluidity is just catching Everton out. Especially as Everton are using a midfield two. And it's just not really working at the moment at all for Everton. Yeah, I have to say, I think they look a bit lost.
Yeah.
And Vignola's playing on the left wing, but is always incredibly narrow. I mean, I get Everton want to be narrow today, but
they're practically all just stood in a line.
Yeah,
in the middle of the pitch.
There's so many Everton players in this same spot that it looks like they're basically playing a midfield five.
Yeah.
They're all in sort of this circle in the midfield.
Has Gargo had a touch yet?
I don't think she's got involved, really, unfortunately.
Because even when the ball's gone over the top, Moyes just dealt with it.
4 touches so far.
It's not great. This is better good from Arsenal. It's just so easy for Ford just to drive at the Everton backline because, as you say, there's no one in a wide area to stop her.
Mamiki barreled down there by McCabe. She'll get away with it. That's the kind of challenge McCabe gets away with so often. She does it all the time, that sort of just like barreling into someone. It's so unnecessary. And I don't know why she gets away with it.
I'd like to see that one back. I didn't think it was too bad. But, I mean, I think it's more the Mimiki's problem more here. She hit her face on the floor. Yeah, no, that's not a foul. That's the second one. She falls on. She accidentally falls on her. Yeah, it's an unfortunate one. That one was all right. It's obviously going to hurt for Mimiki. You don't want someone landing on top of you.
Yeah, indeed. Jay says, good night from Australia. Like your programme, but I'm too tired to go to the end tonight. Hope we win. Well, thank you for tuning in, Dave. And hopefully we'll see you at a more appropriate hour at some point this season, though I think a lot of the WSL games will be in the middle of the night for you.
That's quite smart. You've seen the good bit.
Well, and it could go horribly wrong from here.
But you could wake up, it's 3-2 Everton. But yeah, no, it's been a very, very good first 35 minutes here, especially for the neutral. 3 goals inside 15 minutes. You don't see that every day. It's an impossible angle.
I'm trying to see from the line.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that you're going to do.
That's how TVs work.
Yeah.
If you move, yeah, you see more. But no, I don't know if that went over the line or not. I don't think anyone does.
There's one man that had the perfect angle, and he was the one who put his flag up to say it did. So
yeah. Shamil says, "Do you think Borba could do better for the goal or no? No chance. I don't think you can expect anything more of her there. I think the fact that no one closed her down for Arsenal is where the problem comes. I mean, the problem comes from Canada getting caught in possession, of course, but the fact that Arsenal don't react. Cooney Cross tries to get across, but she's already, she's too wide of it. One of the centre halves has got to step forward there, and get in front of the shot. Ball played down the line into Gargo, who lays it off into Vignola, and Cooney Cross tries to bring her down, and Vignola gets it off to the right-hand side, and is fouled. Here's Payne. Looking like something happened. Good ball into the right sort of area. Kelly Gargo pokes it towards goal. And that's not bad from Everton there. Nice breakaway move, but Gargo just couldn't quite get away from Lotte Wubben-Moy.
And where has that been for 35 minutes? That was a lot better than anything we've seen so far. That's what we saw against Chelsea. That kind of danger on the break. And it's a few touches in the opposition area. It's another shot. Well-worked move from Everton. Just caught Arsenal hard at the pitch. And it's just a little bit of a warning to the Gunners, who have been in complete control of this game, but still only do lead by 1. And if Gargo had managed to poke that into the back of the net, then this was a level game once again.
Yeah. I think it's the sort of precarious lead that Arsenal fans have become accustomed to this season, where despite being the stronger force, speaking of stronger force, that was definitely a foul from Kittigar that wasn't really picked up on. And hopefully this isn't anything serious for Beth Mead, because we know she's had injury issues in the past, and that was a very firm challenge on the ankle.
Yeah, they're the kind of ones in the Champions League that would definitely have a look at.
Yeah.
But the fact that wasn't even given a free kick.
Probably a red.
That definitely, it's
the
on
force,
the
as well as the fact that, she's gone in studs to the ankle. There's a good chance that with VAR in operation, that would be a red card. Hopefully, it's not a serious injury for Beth Mead.
But alas, we're in the WSL, and in here, that's not even a free kick.
I don't even know if it's gone over the line or not.
No.
There's one person who lets us know that. And, yeah.
But yeah. Mead, who has, to be honest, I think has had a pretty decent season. I think she's looked really sharp. And
have we watched the same season?
Yeah. Well, I think she's had a pretty decent season. No?
Oh, each their own.
Well, I know she hasn't scored in the WSL yet, has she? No. But she's on what?
She's got 4 assists. Yeah, I don't think.
I think Champions League's been a good run as well. Maybe I'm wrong.
I think she's changed. No, it's your opinion. It's fine. I think for me, I'd want to see more productivity from her. I'd like to see a bit more directness, but I think the way that she functions in this system tactically is good. Yeah. I think she lost a yard, and it does massively impact her game.
It does.
I think Arsenal need more decisiveness from their wingers.
Yeah, I think it's one of those where it also depends what the output of everyone else is, because if all of their wingers had 4 assists this season, that's 16 assists between them, and then that's a lot. That's a healthy output.
Shaman says, Tim mentioned this, Arsenal aren't blowing teams out anymore pretty much since the LCL game. I saw this clip of him talking about it. I actually think I would make a slight adjustment to what he said, because he said that he said that teams just figured Arsenal out, and that's why we're sort of seeing this drop off for Arsenal. I think the only amendment I would say to that is to an extent that has happened, but Arsenal have also changed system dramatically. The reason it still worked against London City and West Ham is because those teams were terrible defensively, and they capitalised fully on that. And we saw it for Arsenal as well against Leicester. But I still think there's huge issues at the moment with Arsenal's in possession structure. I think they're too slow in the final third. They're too stagnant. yeah, I just don't think the players are perfectly suited to what they want to do with this system.
Mead's all right, by the way. Arsenal have a corner that shouldn't be an Arsenal corner. Came off Russo last. This goes in. It's going to be another thing to add to the list today.
Beth Mead puts it into the box, and that's cleared away well. Wheeler gets the first contact and then clears it away.
See, that's better from Everton. It's better box defending, but it is an uncontested corner that is really poor from Arsenal. If Beth Mead now floats us into the far post, can you tell me with confidence that Everton are going to make that first contact in the same way and head it away? Probably not. Here we go. That's a good corner.
Into the right sort of area, bounces around. It's Gargo who clears that away well. Cooney cross. Gargo then wins the header again, and it's straight up in the air from Caldente as Arsenal want to test Everton's aerial abilities once again. And Sky Sports has frozen, but it will be a header won by Rion Ishikawa. Now Gargo will compete with Cooney Cross. There's only going to be one winner there, but Cooney Cross wins the second ball well. Now out wide with Fox. And she's seen out of play, and that should be an Everton throw, and indeed it is. Darling, watch the stream, says the WSL commentator keeps calling Payne Gargo, and it's painful to listen to. Yeah, that one I really don't understand, because, I think, there is a massive problem, especially in the women's game, with commentators who, I think, get things massively wrong. But, especially with names and stuff. But there are sometimes where, it can be excusable. But I think with Gargo and Payne, they don't even look remotely similar.
No,
that's such a bad one to get wrong. Like if it's Kitagawa Hayashi, you can understand it to an extent. But yeah, Gargo and Payne, they're not even similar. Here is Little trying now to create an opportunity back to Fox. Now Mead, Fox, Mead again, tries to play that through the lines, finds Caldente who can't quite hold on to that ball. And that's back out now for a Everton goal kick.
Yeah, good move once again. It's so refreshing to see Caldente getting into high positions and impacting in the attacking third. And it's paid dividends in this game already. It just shows when you put one of the best number 10s in the world in the 10, she's very, very good at football. Who would have thought it?
Yeah.
But also, it's giving this run. Things like Slagers has finally is living up to her word. She told Cooney Cross that number 8 shirt was hers to have this season, and to prove that she deserves it and hers to take. And finally, we are seeing Cooney Cross get a really good run in the team.
I think for me that they're considering their long term. Finally, this should be Kim Little's last season, in my opinion. I think it's Mead now looking for Little. Can I make something happen? Little. Back to Ford, cross it towards the back post. Russo heads it into the side netting. Was a little wide of the mark there. That was a difficult opportunity. And unable there to find the target. I think with that Arsenal midfield, you'd think that it would likely be Kim Little's last season. They've got Cooney Cross there, has to be their long-term central midfielder. I would bring alongside someone a little bit more defensively minded and push Caldente back up the pitch. Because I think that's where she absolutely thrives. Personally, I'd use her on the left-hand side, like Barcelona did, and then push her into a central position to allow McCabe to overlap. I think I've still got to think about their long-term solution to McCabe, but Hines will be that at least. If McCabe was to leave suddenly, Hines would be there. But yeah, here is Kelly Gargo, holds the ball up well. Back now into Kitagawa, goes in strong again there. But this time it is clean. Fernandez. Now Mace. Shamil, they signed Reuteler and Coffee in January. I don't hate it. How old is Coffee though? Also, I always want to call her Teresa Coffee, and it's not. It's because Teresa Coffee was an MP. But yeah.
It'd be interesting to see her at the base midfield for Arsenal.
Yeah, it would. I think it should be great in transition. Here's Russo. Caldente. Ford. Now back to Caldente. This is, I like Georgia, but she isn't the type I think we need. Yeah, I think, if you're going to rotate Stanway and Cooney Cross enough in that role, then that would be okay. The concern would be you bring in Stanway and she plays every game and Cooney Cross is on the bench again. If it's rotation, I don't think that's too bad. Mead, Comes back there from what looked like a tight offside position, but Lino right in front of it. Doesn't think so. Vignola. That's a fairly hospital ball into a central area. And Arsenal try and win it back. McCabe's pass forward intercepted. Does drop back now to McCabe, though. Cooney cross. Now Catley. Sharon does the South Toffees 27 in a few weeks. Problem is that I think Arsenal need to target the sort of 20 to 24 bracket. It's going to run through to Brosnan, and that was messy again from Everton, but Brosnan does clear the field with their clearance.
So many things in that move I don't understand. Again, Martina Fernandez, who I really don't think has had a good game at all today, just lets that ball run. Unless there was a shout, but then I don't think there was a shout in the way that Brosnan decided to boot it out of play rather than pick it up.
Yeah. Unless you just misjudged the ball.
Maybe.
Brosnan,
just some weird decisions defensively for Everton.
Yeah, Wheeler back now to Brosnan. There's Martinez. Meads won it in the penalty area. Martinez does get enough of a touch on it to stop that ball inside. And that is out now for an Arsenal corner.
You can see it's going to happen. When they're playing the ball around their own penalty area, Arsenal getting closing in, and Brosnan just rolls one out towards Fernandez.
But even so, Fernandez after that doesn't react quick enough. It's so casual. If she gets there first, she can probably use her body there to roll off of Mead and play out to the left-hand side. But instead, it's just she doesn't react at all. 7 minutes of additional time, by the way, in this first half. A few injuries. Brosnan went down for a bit. Mead went down. I'm not sure we've seen 7 minutes of stoppages, but there we go. Ball into the area. Head away well by Ishikawa. Here's Cooney cross. Good job we don't have anywhere to be, eh, Harry?
Yeah.
Caldente.
You don't add 7 minutes on in the first half unless something drastic's happened.
Yeah, I think that's
ridiculous.
Quite extortionate. Here now is Mariona Caldente. And Arsenal probing once again. Cooney cross. Caldente. We're in a familiar position with Arsenal. Right now, there's Ford, who's darted into a central area. Now Rousseau. That's dealt with again. That felt like the Arsenal we've seen for the rest of the season. That's one heart of the pitch. Actually gets dispossessed. Mace there on hand. Pick up the pieces. But Arsenal's strength has come from Everton's weaknesses. Everton keep giving the ball away, and Arsenal are very good at capitalising on that. That's why they lead this game 2-1. But Everton have got to be better on the ball. Their build-up structure, and I don't know if it's just because the players aren't good enough to play this brand of football, but I think they've got some brilliant passers in there. You know, Mason Fernandez is a back line. They should have no issues playing out from the back. So I think it's more structure for me. And the fact, I don't think they've got particularly good central midfielders on at the moment. Ball into the area, and that's a good claim. I think Hayashi's a great box crasher, but not great in her own third.
Yeah.
I think Claire Wheeler's, not really the standard you want anymore. Miki wins that second ball well. Twists out of the grasp of Caldente and has to slow it down. No one for Everton got forward quick enough there.
I understand the frustrations there because Gargo just stood there and looked at her.
Yeah. Miki trying to play that through into Gargo, does well. Lifts it in behind. That's a great ball into Payne. A touch is heavy, cuts it back, and the offside flags up on Tony Payne, which I'm confused about. That could be on Gargo instead.
Would have been a late one. And
either that or the assistant referee.
I mean, she starts offside. Gargo's fine.
Oh, yeah, she does.
Yeah.
Well, no, she's rolled on the back post.
See the grass. Just use the grass. I mean, the ball cutback wasn't great, and the touch was heavy after that. But yeah, I get with Arsenal, the attacks and the chances have been. They're not constant anymore, and that's the second or third time we have just seen Everton have a bit of a foray forward. Nothing threatening, not getting a shot from it, but once again it's Payne on the right hand side getting some touches in that penalty area, and has a potential for something to happen. Yeah, Denise Barry says Clara Buell on the left is a must. Well, that's a bit like saying Aitana Bonmati in midfield is a must. Yeah,
if any club in the world signs Clara Buell, they are a better team. No, I think if Clara Buell's world class. I still think people underrate her though. Just such a talented footballer. But yeah, it'd be interesting if she ever does leave Bayern, where she would go. I mean, obviously, we know Barcelona have long-standing interests as well. Doesn't feel like a Barca player,
No.
but that doesn't really matter. She would fit in the team well.
That doesn't mean. I think she'd say yes if they came knocking.
Yeah. But they don't really need her unless they're moving on Samuel Paralluelo, which, that seems too smart a decision for Barca. Catley can't quite hold on to that one. That's good use of the body there from Mamiki. She's had a good game.
I think Catley's had a good game, and she's been physical, but you can't complain when someone's been physical back to you.
Yeah. Ishikawa launches it up the line. McCabe will intercept that. Vignola pounces on it well. Can't then quite get it out of her feet, and Little's got away from her. I love Vignola in that 10 role for her tidy touch in the final third, but she's got to be better at reacting and sort of getting back in. I don't think she's good enough to play. She can't play in that central role when she doesn't recover particularly well. Right, back now to Brosnan. Not sure why Mace needed to head that one, but it made it all a little bit more awkward.
I didn't have any of that.
To go
Mace headed it back half a yard, and Brosnan decided to catch it one-handed.
Well, she had to. I don't think she was expected to be headed back to her.
Maybe.
Brian says, I think Buell is a lifetime at Bayern player. Yeah. I would reckon so. If she's going to go anywhere, it'll be for the money, in which case she's not going to Barcelona. It will be either Olympique Lyonnais have found a spare £100 million in their back pocket. And Mace can't quite play out of there. Good defending from Wouben Moy, who stepped up well. That was Vignola, sorry.
Absolutely. Everton have looked a bit brighter towards the end of this half. I thought it would go the way around. I thought with this lengthy additional time, Everton would tire and Arsenal would put under more pressure. But actually, the Toffees have seemed to have found a second lease of life.
Is it the usual case of Arsenal where they either play the first 20 minutes and not the rest 70, or don't turn up until the 70th minute?
Yeah, I think it genuinely, it's incredible how consistently they do it. It's like there's an off and on switch. They've gone, we're winning now after half an hour. Let's just go. Let's just slow it down again and not push on.
I
mean, annoyingly, you can only see possession stats for a half. I wish you could see it for like intervals, because I'd love to see the possession stats in the first 35 minutes and in the last 15 minutes, because they must have massively shifted. Because look at this. This is Everton on the ball trying to play out of the back and not losing it, which makes a change. And that is a great ball into Gargo. She's onside.
Kelly Gargo now running at Catley, and the Linos flag is up. Catley is very sure it's offside. Gargo, though, furious.
Like another look at that, because I thought Catley was with her when they went. I'm not going to say
horrible.
Because that angle is horrendous.
The other thing is McCabe.
Yeah. I think Catley was a bit higher than her, but there were players around. Yeah. It was both fullbacks, but that another impossible angle. We need more cameras on WSL coverage. We really do.
Yeah.
Because some of the angles we get are just so inconclusive.
And that is half time here at Goodison Park. Everton 1, Arsenal 2. Arsenal, despite dictating in all statistics, only lead by a goal to nil. And I think that'll be a source of frustration for some fans. But it was a much more positive performance from Arsenal. Not only have they controlled the ball, but they've created chances. Early on, it was Katie McCabe who capitalised on a poor piece of Everton defending to lash home a great effort, only for Hanoka Hayashi to immediately cancel that out with a great strike of her own. Mariona Calante at fault for that one, gifting the ball away in her own third. Then it was Caitlin Ford in the 15th minute, immediately responding to that Hayashi goal as another mess around at the back. And it was given to Alessia Russo, to be fair, as Arsenal reinstated the advantage. Since then, though, it's been a much closer game. Why haven't Arsenal killed this off yet, Harry?
It's just incredible. I think that it's a common case of Arsenal being dominant on the pitch for the majority of the half, but the scoreline doesn't reflect it. And it's a bit of a false sense of security. It is that when you look at that half, if you watched that half and you didn't know the scoreline, they took the goals out, you'd think Arsenal were 4-0 up just on the base of play. Yeah. But and now they've taken their foot off the gas like they are 4-0 up. The problem is they're not. They're only 2-1 up. and they've got to be careful that doesn't allow Everton back into the game. But yeah, they've just taken their foot off the pedal, really. They're doing really well at keeping Everton pinned in, being aggressive and being right onto them. And in that additional time, especially, but the last 10, 15 minutes and a half, it just became a lot slower. Everton had a lot more of the ball. We saw a couple of times where that ball went over the top into Payne or into Gargo, and either the flag went up or it didn't quite work out. But Everton are starting to have a bit more of the ball. Arsenal they seem to just be relaxing a little bit, and they've got to be very careful. Although they're comfortable on the pitch and it has been working well, and of course they will still get more chances in the second half, but they could have a much more convincing lead, and I think that will be another point of frustration for Slagers, is that Arsenal are only leading by 1 in this game. They should be clear. They should be 3 or 4 up on the base of play, but they're not. And although they deserve that, there's a difference between deserving a lead and having one. And if you don't have that, Everton could come out in the second half, and all they've got to do is have one more shot and score it, and suddenly it's a level game again.
Yeah, Everton will be the most clinical side in history if they could manage that. I think for Everton, it's we saw a much better response. Brosnan went down. They had a little tactical discussion, and when we saw Everton look a lot more disciplined, there were still some huge issues. And I think once again we're seeing Everton's biggest problems this season actually come from their build-up. Yeah. And it's very interesting because in the game against Chelsea, what gave Everton, an opportunity was they scored that early goal. And it kind of flipped because that changed the game state a lot. Everton then didn't need to play out from the back. And I'm not sure they needed to play out from the back at all in this game, but that's where all of their issues have stemmed from. Arsenal then capitalising on those opportunities, and Everton's sort of emergency defending not really being there. What we saw in the Chelsea game was they were able to just knock the ball away and then settle into their low block and wait for Chelsea to come to them, and then they were able to be prepared. The problem for Everton is how they are responding to giving the ball away at the back, and it's not good enough. It seems like a lot of panic, especially from that midfield pair. I think Hayashi and Wheeler have been dragged out too easily today. And it's not easy because they are outnumbered, and we're not really seeing Vignola get back enough. We're not seeing Mamiki drop back in enough. And when they do drop in enough, it seems to be like 10 players behind the ball, and Gargo's completely isolated. It's one extreme or the other for Everton at the moment. But the reaction to losing possession isn't good enough for Everton. It's just too laboured. There needs to be a bit more urgency. There needs to be a little bit more desire in there for Everton. I think at the moment Arsenal are winning that midfield battle, and that isn't something we've said a lot about Arsenal this season. And a lot of that is because they've finally played Calante high up the pitch, and that midfield three, the three of them together are able to sort of interchange positions quite effectively. And I think at the moment what we're seeing is a lot of fluidity in that, and it's working really nicely for Arsenal.
Yeah, they're playing brilliantly. It's great to finally see that tactical shift and that personnel shift, and it is paying off massively. And it's just it's one of those where it sounds so simple when we say it, but you put your best players in their best positions and they will thrive. And that's exactly what hasn't happened for Arsenal this season, but is happening today. They've put Calante high at the pitch. You've got Little and Cooney Cross playing well as well in that midfield there. And between the three of them, they're doing a very, very good job. And it's really good to see that a functioning midfield for Arsenal, and it's allowing the other players to thrive. Of course, it helps that Everton are giving Arsenal so much room in so many different areas and a lot of time, but still, it's positive for Arsenal that it definitely has been much better. And of course, we've seen McCabe get higher, and the goal she took was absolutely brilliant. We've seen, I think, wide areas as well. Arsenal are shining because there are no Everton players in the wide areas. But yeah, it's been really refreshing to see Arsenal just put people in the right positions and seeing them shine.
Well, like for this first goal, where is Payne? The McCabe goal, is she on the pitch? Because where is Tony Payne?
I have no idea.
Send a search party, because this is the problem with me. There's no reaction to giving away possession. I think Everton need to be stronger responding to things. I think that has been such a big issue for them. Bill says Everton shouldn't be playing out from the back full stop. They're set up to be direct, but the manager just won't accept it. Well, in the summer, they brought in a lot of players suited to playing more possession-based football. So it does make sense to that end. I think when you look at a lot of their players, they're players who should be okay playing out from the back. I think it's more that I think the midfield pair isn't good enough to play this style of football. And I think Sorensen's structure isn't good enough. And that's something that he needs to review rather than go, well, it came down to mistakes today. What I'm saying as well, mistakes aren't just because Everton's structure isn't great. Arsenal's pressing has been really good, and the way that they've been able to use that sort of front pair of Caldente and Russo has put a lot of pressure on. I feel like everything positive for us has come from that sort of midfield block, as much as we haven't seen Russo. I mean, Russo got a goal, but outside of that, I think, she has missed opportunities. And that goal is a very fortuitous one. I think that midfield block has done incredibly well today. I still think we're not seeing enough from Arsenal's wide players. I think the creativity in wide areas is coming from the fullbacks more than it is from the wingers. When we saw it for both the goals, it's a forward ball into the box that was then bounced around, and Arsenal managed to get it in, and it was a McCabe strike on the left hand side. So that's great, but you want to see more from those Arsenal wingers.
Yeah, you do. I think that again, it's always the question because we've seen Arsenal chop and change those wingers so much this season. We've seen them all on different sides. We've seen them all in different partnerships, but I think that there's still that. You're crying out for one of them to come in with a bit of consistency, and with that consistency will then nail that. Of course, it's hard to build consistency when you are being chopped around, but I think it goes both ways. Where is if one of them can start bringing a consistent good level, then you mark yourself undroppable. And I think that's what they're waiting for. But in this game, I thought Meads had some decent touches. Probably could have scored very early on with the header that was saved by Brosnan. But I think you also look at the fullbacks they're up against. And if I was a forward or Mead, I'd absolutely fancy myself today. Because I don't think Ishikawa or Kitagawa have looked competent at all today. I'd get running at them. I'd cause them problems. I'd sense a chance to really fill my boots with some contributions.
That's like if you had done a fullback.
Oh yeah, yes. If I was a winger, I'd sit there and go, "Wow, I've got a great." Obviously, if I turned up, they'd have me on toast. I wouldn't have had a chance. But if I was Ford or Mead, I'd be sitting there thinking, "I can get a goal today. I can get a couple of contributions because I backed myself to beat my opposition fullback."
Yeah, I think that is the problem. Is that neither of the wingers are particularly good at, just aren't doing it. They may be great. We haven't seen it though this season. They're not great at taking players on. I think that's what they've got to do more, especially in a game like this, where, as you say, Everton's fullbacks don't look particularly confident. If you can beat a player, you take them out of the equation. Suddenly, Everton's structure gets disrupted more.
Yeah.
I think it's the same problem Chelsea have at the moment, to be fair. I don't think Chelsea have got wingers that want to take players on. Carney's great running in behind. Thompson's great at running in behind. But the problem with their structure is they often get stuck in a position where no one can take a player on.
Yeah.
I think that's absolutely where City are the differentiators, because they've got Firmino one side and Hemp the other, and both of them are just ridiculously good. And then the problem it creates then is that they draw players wide, but you've also got to have someone marking Khadija Shaw, because it's Khadija Shaw. You can't leave her unmarked. So you create an issue then, because so many different players need to be marked at the same time. It's impossible to deal with them all of their threats at the same time. Whereas I think the problem has been for Arsenal and Chelsea this season is it's just too predictable. It's too slow, which makes defending it, especially in a low block, too easy.
Yeah, it's like, again, it's one of those where even at the start today, you thought that Everton were going to struggle and that Arsenal were going to be difficult to contain. But it's then Arsenal have dropped back into all the same routines and all the same things that they have been doing, and it's allowed Everton to start to get back into this game. But yeah, I think you have to be different in football, or because you see it so many times. And I think, again, I mean, Arsenal are probably a good example. See, last season they went on to win the Champions League, but when a new manager or a new system comes in, while everyone else is still learning how to beat you or how to play against that system, you're brilliant. You play everyone off the park. Look at Vidicic at Brighton is another great example. While no one knows how to handle what you want to do, I mean, you could even argue Bon Pastor when she came in.
I think it's you look at last season, Bon Pastor, Slegers come into the league, Vidicic comes into the league, they all do really well. This season we're seeing the same with Martin Ho and Yegler, so it'll be interesting to see next season how that adjusts. I think it will be slightly different, because Yegler's his system, even if you know what they're going to do, because it's designed around having sort of transitional moments anyway. What other than stopping transitions? That's a very abstract thing to just do. Whereas if you see a side wants to play slow possession football and you drop deeper, what will be interesting is how teams sort of respond, especially in the second half of the season now, to Tottenham. Because Tottenham had a great start to the campaign, but in the second half of the campaign, how are teams going to adjust to play against Tottenham and be strong? Shaman says Ford is good at taking players on, but she doesn't do it only when she plays against Bronze. Yeah, every time at the Emirates. I've watched it now 2 years in a row where Ford just picks up the ball and runs at Lucy Bronze, and Bronze looks absolutely lost. That is Ford's best game of the season every year.
If Ford played like that in every single other game, she'd be one of the most dangerous swingers in the league. Like, Jenny, if she ran at other fullbacks like she runs at Lucy Bronze, she'd have them on absolute toast.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, first, I'm not a fan of Ford at all. I think she's the exact type of player we're trying to avoid Smith becoming. Ford can run and shoot, but her passing is abysmal. Yeah, interesting. I think the thing for Arsenal is they've not moved any of their wingers on, and that's kind of the problem. Is that last summer, I mean, we talk about sort of like the stagnation in the squad. Arsenal didn't refresh enough. I think players like Frida Marnham fit that mould. I think someone who probably could have been moved on by now. I think the centre backs, there wasn't enough rotation there. Don't look at Arsenal centre back partnership today, for example, and think, well, that's a Champions League winning, a title winning centre back partnership. I know Williamson comes in and makes them a lot stronger, but you can't be ultra reliant on just one defender.
No.
I think wide players is the other area where Arsenal haven't done enough, and the issue is now you'd go into next summer saying, well, I would move on both Mead and Ford. But you don't really want to move on, 50% of your wingers, and especially that so much experience all at once. And especially if you also want to move on Little, because she's probably going to retire at the end of the season, or at least go and take a payday in the US or something like that, or maybe go to a championship or something. We don't know. Or someone like Frida Marnham. You're moving on a lot of players at once.
Yeah.
And the problem is they didn't really do anything in the summer apart from Lucy Avalti, who's kind of the only older player. They didn't really need to move on.
The one player.
Yeah. I know they can't necessarily force players out of the club, but I think coming into this summer with a lot of players out of contract, I believe both Ford and Mead, maybe because you don't want to move everyone at once, you keep one and let the other leave, and then you bring in a winger, depending on sort of where you can who you can bring in and what you're looking to do.
Yeah.
Then you move one on, keep the other. I think the other issue is obviously they've blocked themselves by signing Chloe Kelly. I don't think that was an incredible signing. I think for marketing purposes and for fan engagement, it's definitely a great signing. But I think in terms of what they needed tactically, Kelly doesn't exactly fit that. She's a great difference maker, a great impact sub. But I think what Arsenal were looking for wingers who will be starting wingers in sort of once Mead and Ford have left.
Yeah.
And Smith fits that perfectly. If Ford was to leave at the end of the season, you'd look at Smith and you'd hope that as she continues to develop, a bit like City did with Virginia, she came in initially and looked very raw. This season, she's been one of the most dangerous players in the league. Yeah. That's what Arsenal will be hoping they're getting from Olivia Smith. And they very much should be getting if they are developing her correctly. And we're seeing as well that offside for Tony Payne, which wasn't offside.
Why have they taken it from that point? Because the ball wasn't kicked there.
Oh yeah, they've taken the wrong. Brilliant.
Yeah,
and still isn't offside. But yeah,
it's been an interesting one for the official. I think there's been a couple that have potentially been wrong, but at the moment, it's not really changing the outcome of the match.
Of course, without Kelly, we don't win the Champions League last season. She was a great signing. Yeah, but good loan. And then I get fans wanted her. Everyone loves her, but I don't think she's as good a player as a lot of other people do. But yeah, that's a personal opinion. There's lots of players who absolutely love Chloe Kelly. Shaman says you think Kelly will be fed up eventually being a bench player? Ooh, I don't know. It depends.
That's the other thing for
where
me.
Her motivations lie.
Exactly. That's the other thing for me. It doesn't make sense. She left City for Arsenal to not be a bench player and start, but she's now just a bench player at a different club.
She is injured at the moment. Maybe she would have started today. She has definitely started more than she did in that first half of the season, but I think that's more because she was getting benched because I think she'd have played more at City than if she hadn't kicked up a fuss.
Yeah.
And we are back underway in this second half. Miki knocking it back as Everton get the ball rolling again. And Everton now looking to build out from the back. Here's Mace under pressure immediately. And yeah, it's that split midfield. It's just not working at the moment because you're being pressed so aggressively by Arsenal's front two.
Yeah.
It's just not working. Kitagawa dispossessed in there as Fox pushes up high, slips it into Cooney Cross. Kitagawa will get there, and now it's with Wheeler, who can knock it out to Payne. Turns out of trouble well there, Tony Payne. Now shifted to Mamiki, who lets the ball run across her body well. Now Ishikawa feeds it through to Payne, but it's slightly behind her, and she can't quite win it back. That's brilliant in there as Kim Little gives away the ball. Vignola tries to open up space with a shot, but the touch is heavy.
Nervy.
Everton there opened up space but couldn't capitalise. Vignola. They got it open. Arsenal asleep at the start of this half. That deflects off Cooney cross into hands of Borba. Everton there failing to capitalise on a slow starting Arsenal.
Exactly the reaction Everton needed to come out in this second half and try and level this game immediately. Arsenal would have hoped to do the reverse. They would have hoped to come out quickly, get a third goal and put this game to bed. But instead, it's Everton who are really at the races at the moment. And Arsenal got to be careful they don't let this game slip away from them.
Here is Katie McCabe. Caldente. Now knocks it wide. And what can Ford make happen? He wants to take on Ishikawa. Goes down the line. Ball into the box. Not a bad idea. Me tries to get a shot away at the back post, hooking it towards goal, but can't make any contact with the ball. And Kitagawa knocks it down the line well. Here's Fox. It looks like they've moved Gargo to left wing. I think it's the same shape, to be fair. Vignola is playing central midfield. It's just such a strange decision.
Hayashi on the left.
Yeah, that's pretty much what they're doing, but Hayashi was tucking in so much in the first half that it looked more like a midfield 5.
Yeah.
Ball in from Fox. I mean, just what a strange use of... I know you've got Mimiki and Vignola, who are both... they're trying to play them both in that sort of attacking midfield role. Great when they're coming forwards, but terrible defensively. Yeah. Terrible in build-up. And to sort of compensate for it, they're pushing Hayashi inside in build-up.
Yeah.
And no one on the left-hand side, but Gargo's sort of pulling wide a bit. It's so... There's so many questions I have for Brian Sorensen. Why would be the first one.
Yeah.
But yeah. Hasn't worked out quite yet. But they have started the second half. The strongest side, arguably. What can they do from here? Well, Shell says, come on, the Toffees. And they find a way back into this game. Only a 1-goal deficit to make up. I've got to give Arsenal the ball more in their own third. Because they will win it back.
Yeah.
Cooney cross. Now to Fox. Caldente. Mead. Caldente. Wide into Fox. Now inside to Beth Mead. What can she make happen? Wants to go backwards. Fox. Lifting out towards the left-hand side. Ford touched it down to McCabe. Pass inside now to Caldente. Cooney cross. Mead. Ball in towards the back post. Punched away by Bros. That's going to drop for McCabe. Drilled across the box. And then it's one back well in there by Wheeler. One high by Cooney cross. Poked away well. And now Ruben Moy. McCabe. Across to Cooney cross. Mead. Now Ruben Moy. That's headed away well by Ishikawa. Gargo tries to get the flick on. Drops for Tony Payne. And it's wide now to Rion Ishikawa. And she'll carry the ball forwards here. Waits for Payne to overlap. Now cuts back inside. Love that from Ishikawa. Wheeler. Now to Martinez. Had to be a more positive pass than that, though, from Claire Wheeler. Hayashi. And Everton slipping back into their structure. I think the other thing for Arsenal, we've spoken a lot about that sort of squad building. But what we haven't mentioned is something that obviously the Athletic reported on a few weeks ago, which is sort of the hierarchy of the squads and the problem of having like this, a lot of player power. And I think that is a particularly prevalent issue, especially when we've spoken a lot about the wingers. But the reason Mead and Ford are both still at the club is that they're both part of that sort of power group.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that Arsenal have got to break. But the problem is you don't break it unless sort of everyone in the group leaves.
Yeah.
Because if they try and sell one of them, the rest of the group is obviously then going to respond to that. Hayashi. Back now to Fernandez. Shamdil says Stina will kill this game off if she comes on. Yeah, Everton haven't been as deep as they were last week. No, I'd be tempted to try and be a little bit more direct. And yeah, got Payne making that run off the shoulder. But the problem is, Fernandez took so long to play the pass, and then the pass was really poor anyway. Yeah, they don't really have anyone that can play that ball in behind. I guess Mace can do it, but they're not really getting her on the ball. And Russo's pressing her so aggressively to stop that as well. Pass through the lines now from Caldente, looking to find Ford in behind. Excellent from Ishikawa, and Mace will get it clear out though for a corner.
Good recovery that from Ishikawa. I thought Ford might have had the beating of her there, but she'd well to get back in and to stop Ford from progressing. But yeah, it's been a good reaction from Everton in the second half. Had more of the ball and are just trying to come at Arsenal a little bit more and hunt that equaliser down.
Everton up there as one of the sides with the most set-piece goals conceded. Which is obviously a more important stat than the fact that Arsenal aren't particularly clinical from set pieces. Ball into the right area, handed away well by Ishikawa. Mamiki hooks it clear. That's out for an Everton throw.
Yeah, it must have taken a nick off somebody in that penalty area after Mamiki cleared it.
Ishikawa, Mamiki blocked well. This is, to be honest, that athletic cards would apply to most teams. To be honest, I think Bright, Cuthbert, Kerr, etc. aren't the top dogs at Chelsea. I don't think they've got more power than the manager, though. I think for example, if Bright leaves next summer, I don't think that would force, I don't think Cuthbert is going to kick off about that necessarily. I wouldn't be surprised, actually, if Bright, we've seen Bright bench recently. We've not seen, the rest of the squad kick off about it, at least publicly. We might. Pays it inside. And now they're looking to bring it forwards. Mead. And she's brought down there. We've seen big, Chelsea players who were part of that. Leopold was a huge character. Magdalena Eriksson and Pernilla Harder, for God's sake. Chelsea's captain at the time and the most expensive sign they've ever made. But they wanted to move on. And I think it's interesting. Here is McCabe now. Ball into the box. Chance for Russo. Straight at the goalkeeper.
Another one for Russo. You felt like, again, everything's right about it. The timing, the positioning is all good. But it's just that contact. It's the actual effort that isn't enough to test Brosnan.
Wheeler plays it in behind. Payne's timed that well. And once again, the assistant referee puts his flag up. I'd like to see a replay.
Yeah, I think she was off just, but yeah, there's quite a few of them.
Oh, well, I'd love to see a replay, but we've got to see Russo's not particularly powerful shot at the front post.
Yeah, it's another one that she kind of just taps towards Brosnan. Never going to beat her there. I think Russo, everything's good from Russo apart from that just final finish.
Pass out to the left-hand side, McCabe. Going to be forced back now. Because we're seeing Mead and McCabe both benched for big games this season. It's just that Arsenal have struggled to see the articles come out. What big games other than Lyonnais has McCabe been benched in? And even then, that was 1 out of 6 Champions League matches. But yeah, I think it is a different dynamic. But equally, yeah, obviously there is going to be increased scrutiny in the media if the side isn't performing particularly well. We all know whose agent, or we can all make an educated guess, whose agent leaked it. Especially with the detail about sort of the new arrivals being sat, in one section and obviously then going round in order of who's been at the club the longest. McCabe into Caldente. Trying to carry that ball forwards. Looking to make something happen. Back now to McCabe. Mead slides it through for Karakuni cross, and it's won back well by Hayashi. And cleared away. Catley heads on, flicked on well by Caldente. Ishikawa. That's blocked back to Caldente. Now Ford. Can she make something happen? It's won back well in there by Mamiki.
After what was a frantic first 15 minutes of the game, feels like this one has just settled into a very predictable and common Arsenal rhythm that we've seen so far this season. A very slim lead. They are comfortable and in control, but not completely out of sight. And in certain games, that's been fine. And they've held on to it and they've won the game. In other games, they've been pegged back and dropped points. So it's going to be interesting to see how the next 35 minutes play out.
Yeah.
But it's comfortable and they're on the ball and they are coming forwards. But they're not clear-cut opportunities to kill this game off just yet.
Okay, down the line. Here's Caldente into Ford in the box, who's done really well to hold on to the ball there under pressure. Fox wide into Mead. Plays it into Cooney Cross, back to Mead. I think Arsenal's ball into the box, and that's quite high. Caldente keeps it down though, and then it's tried to be cleared away by Chicago. Drops to Russo now. And that's a really good block from Mace. I think the penetration isn't really happening for Arsenal at the moment. They're getting into high positions, but Everton have definitely shored up. A lot more disciplined now.
This is what
Arsenal aren't really pulling them out like they were in the first half.
Yeah, this is what Everton need to do from minute one at 0-0. The problem is it's good, as you say, but they're doing it at 2-1 down, which is a little bit too late unless they are going to find an equaliser from somewhere.
I guess that's the plan. Sit tight. Just make sure this game's still 2-1 the last sort of 10 minutes. Go for it.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
But yeah. Pass back now to Caldente. He knocks it out wide into Lotta with Moy. Little. There's the box of Ford. Blocked away. Cooney Cross. Little with Moy. Fox. Mead. McCabe now on the touchline. Back to Mead. And it's all the way back to Lotta with Moy. Looking down the line. Now Fox. Little. Cooney Cross. I love the fluidity, but Arsenal ended up there with both their fullbacks at centre half.
Yeah.
And then Catley and Ruben Moy half the pitch. Like, yeah, to an extent, it's interesting. It's different. But when your fullbacks are great at coming forwards and your centre halves aren't, why?
Yeah.
You know, fair enough if you've got someone at centre back who wants to drive forwards. I'm trying to think of a player who would be perfect for that role. Everton, if they use Ruby Mace as that, would be insane because they're Everton. But still, that could, that kind of thing could work. But yeah, two inverted fullbacks is bizarre. Triple change for Everton. That is Katja Nice, Karen Holmgaard, and I think it is Van Gool.
Yeah, triple change then, and they are going for it. So Gargo's coming off, Wheeler's coming off, Mamiki's coming off.
Oh, yes, nice. Holmgaard, Van Gool coming on. So they need a goal, and they've brought off Kelly Gargo, which feels counterintuitive.
But they are attacking subs.
Yeah, but I don't think they make their attack better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I assume Holmgaard will go into right back. Mace. I don't really know what they're going to do here. Mace push into midfield, Ishikar back centre back?
That would be really silly. That'd be really silly to do.
Well, yeah. I don't know what is happening. It's at the 5. I don't know what they're doing.
It's just a 9 and then Snoise. But we'll see. Can that triple change the game for Everton?
Mead. Caldente. Blocked. Back to Caldente. And that's saved and claimed well by Courtney Brosnan.
Yeah, again, not a bad head from Caldente. Good save from Brosnan, and that would have been a terrible time to concede. You've just made a triple change to get yourselves back in the game, and almost immediately Mariano Caldente made it 3-1. Yeah, good save. That's a really good.
And the claim as well. She pushes that out. That's probably an Arsenal goal. Right. What are Everton doing? We don't know. They're getting the ball away too easily. Is Holmgaard in midfield?
Yes, it is.
Or right wing, actually. No, central midfield.
They pushed Vignola up a little bit, maybe.
I don't know. Double change coming for Arsenal as well. They're going to try and be more direct.
That's an
with Olivia Smith and Sina Blacksenius.
That's an incredible double change.
Yeah, I'm lost as to what Arsenal do with their strikers next season. I don't know, unless Russo's going to play as the 10, how Adjumang, Blacksenius and Russo can coexist.
That is true.
Mead takes aim from range, and that is the most comfortable save Rotten has had of the afternoon.
Yeah, wrong decision that, and rightfully Mead apologises to her teammates who were in better positions to receive the ball. But you never know, I suppose, if you don't try your luck.
I do wonder if Arsenal will cash in on Adjumang, which I think would be incredibly short-sighted. They shouldn't, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Fox with Moy down the line into Kairakuni cross. Back to Catley. Of course, there's now Everton will start going over the top to Snoice. Inexplicable. Well, it looks like they've pushed Payne up front, which does give them a bit more transitional threat, I guess, but you haven't got anyone on this pitch that's a goal scorer apart from Vignola, who's playing in a double pivot. Because Brian Sorensen has gone absolutely insane.
Oh, he actually plays a left winger. I know he actually played further forward this season, but...
Well, Hayashi's sort of a great box-crashing midfielder, but this is... I don't know what they're trying to do here.
But they beat Chelsea last weekend.
I know, not a single player is in their position. Apart from, like, Kitagawa and Fernandez. Everyone else is out of position.
Incredible. It's like it's the Villa harm effect. Which, obviously, we know what happened to him. Hopefully Sorensen still has a job.
First, Adjumang might go on loan again. She didn't get the experience she wanted due to the injury.
Oh, what are Arsenal
that could
doing
definitely
here?
happen. Yeah, they're dropping...
Oh, no.
I'll tell you what they're doing. They're dropping Calvin Ten to the pivot. Enough fun. 62 minutes in. Calvin Ten's going back. Mead off for Smith. Little off for Blackstenius. Blackstenius will go up front. Russo 10. Calvin Ten to the pivot.
It was 62 minutes of fun.
We enjoyed it while it lasted, watching Mariana Calente get to do attacking things.
And now we get to watch one of the world's best number 10s play in a pivot, and one of the world's best number 9s play as a 10. Fun.
Well, don't worry, because we're watching Calente, a 10, playing as the sort of 6 now, up against Katja Snoy. Karen Holmgaard, a right back who's playing central midfield.
This is brilliant.
Positional rotations. It's gone too far.
Just crazy.
And Beth Mead still making her way around Goodison Park. Getting some applause there from the home fans. Here is Blackstenius. Caldente. And now McCabe back into Alessia Russo. Ball forwards into Ford, looking to play it into a player in the area, but it's Kitagawa who gets that. Of course, there's all this hierarchy talk about Russo is actually undroppable for Rene. Yeah, but I think she's. I mean, yeah, I agree. I think she should be dropped. Ball into the area, drops now for Russo at the back post. It's blocked away, and Hayashi. Now looking to break down the left-hand side. It's a ball that's going to go down the channel. Can Snoice get there? And she's won it back off Cooney Cross. And Everton will look to play now. Here's Payne. Fox gets back in brilliantly, but Payne's got around her and Fox gets in again.
Ridiculous.
That recovery pace. I mean, Payne should do a lot better. She just looked nervous at every touch of the ball, but Emily Fox, that's absurd that you've got back in there.
You just think, you look at it and you think, oh my days, Payne's in here, and then Fox, just like this, just like a red zoom, just flies back in, and suddenly, Arsenal got the ball back again.
Holmgaard is not a central midfielder.
No.
That one there, she just pounce on, and it just rolls past her and straight into Russo. And that should have been, Arsenal punished for a slow pass out the back. Instead, it just absolutely wasn't. I don't know why Vignola's playing as the 6. I really don't. Anyway.
It's been a fun game.
I feel like I'm slowly losing my mind with Brian starting some football.
But they're in like 9th in the league, and they could nick a point here. And that's what's really bizarre about it.
Anywhere near 9th of how they've played this season. It's
incredible.
Ryan says Russo and Canate in defence. Yeah. That midfield's going to be interesting. But don't worry, because, the Everton midfield is much more bizarre. It's a right back, a winger, and a midfielder.
It's
Fox.
incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Chard watches the stream, says Emily Fox is like the Flash. Absolutely. The recovery pace is just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I think she's, I think Arsenal fans know she's brilliant, but I think she is still underrated. I think I'd definitely have her in the argument or conversation for best right back in the world.
Oh, yeah, she's I think again, as you say, is a strong.
I don't think she's often the first name out, whereas for me, I think she should definitely be right up there with your Battiers, your Carpenters.
I think she should be Arsenal's first name on the team sheet, up there with Caldente.
Yeah, high up the pitch.
Yeah, Caldente. I mean, not on in the 10.
But yeah. Because some man must just enjoy annoying fans. Yeah, Brian Hodgson exists solely to watch our Monday weekend roundup and laugh.
Which is a practical joke.
Yeah, he puts it on live in.
This will be funny. They'll find this funny. I always do this.
Watch they try and work out why Ornella Vignola is currently playing as the number 6 in my 4-1-4-1 with Hayashi and Snoyce as the wingers.
I don't get why they changed so much of what worked last week.
No,
I really don't.
Last season,
yeah, they were brilliant. That second half of last season, they were absolutely brilliant, free flowing, good football. Now it's just a mess.
Oh, a bit messy in there, but Mace does make the clean challenge. Ishikawa goes in a little more wildly, and it's cleared away well. Can't ask why is your camera out of focus. It shouldn't be. Looks all right on our end. Anton says Fox not strong in possession as other top right backs. Crossing is woeful usually. I think that's a little harsh, Anton. Woeful. But yeah, I still think she's a top right back. Doesn't really get the opportunity to cross because she inverts more often than she overlaps for Arsenal. I mean, she shouldn't need to get forwards. They should overlap the left hand side hard, hold the width on the right hand side, and tuck Fox in really. Especially with Williamson, because you can use then Williamson as that sort of central centre back. I think that would be brilliant, but what do I know? Anyway, Everton building out.
Yeah, again, you're just not much is happening, but it is only 2-1.
Now Vignola's been allowed to get forwards. Tony Payne has found a brilliant accidental ball at Kirigawa, but she's not going to get there ahead of Emily Fox. And now Arsenal can play out. Here's Smith. Has Hayashi on her back. I also don't know why they keep swapping Hayashi and Kirigawa. I don't know why Hayashi's currently having a fight with Olivia Smith. Snice brings it down well. Now home guard to Ishikawa. Mace. Fernandez. Need to find an Everton journalist so they can ask Brian Sorensen why he's playing everyone out of position. And has tries to play through the lines. That's one back well though by Fox. And now Arsenal will look to play in behind. Maxtenius makes the run into the wide channel, makes tracks so well though, knocks it out of play.
Fernandez has really struggled today. It's another really poor pass, and then for some reason she goes, I've made a poor pass, so I'm going to go chasing it and try and make up for it, and just leaves loads of space behind her. Another really poor decision there from the Everton centre half. Still 20 minutes. A lot can happen in 20 minutes. Is it going to be, as I think Phil and other people predicted, is it going to be Arsenal just nick a couple of late goals and make it look, nice on paper, or is it going to be Everton to nick an equaliser from absolutely
I don't see this game ending 2-1.
No.
It'll either be 2-2 and another week where we go, Arsenal, what happened here? Or they'll win 4-1.
Yeah.
I don't think 3-1's a possibility.
No.
I think if they score a third, they'll get a fourth.
Yeah. Everyone's kind of spent the last few minutes just smashing into each other. I really don't know what's going on. There's another one there. Snice just Honga releases the ball, and then her and Caldente end up on the floor in a heap.
I think 3-1's also the least aesthetically pleasing win.
Okay.
I think. I don't know. It's just. I think 3-0 is more aesthetic. It's really aesthetically pleasing. I think 4-1 is much nicer than 3-1.
Yeah, I kind of get what you mean.
Like, it just looks horrible. A 3-1. I'd rather a 2-0. Ball into the box, blocked, and that drops the Borba.
I think Arsenal will just take the 3 points.
I think the best wins are 5-4 and 6-3, though. They look great.
No. I think I'd rather a 1-0 than a 5-4.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
1-0 was boring. 5-4 was brilliant, and you've won it. Blocked well by Katya Snoice out now to the left-hand side. Here's McCabe. Now Caldente. If anyone else has got any opinions on the aesthetics of winning scorelines, let us know. 1-well there by Mace. Turned over.
Great tackle, and then she tried to nutmeg Russo. I don't understand why she tried to do that.
Yeah.
Should have ran away from her. Instead, tried to beat her.
Left the ball behind, ran off.
Yeah.
I've got to get back in.
You just wait here. Let me get my defence sorted out.
Moving boy into Fox. Let's exchange possession exchanging hands frequently. Vignola back now to Martinez. Phil says 4-5-4, East 5-5 is the best scoreline. I prefer 4-5-5, East 5-4.
Oh yes,
Martinez.
I was trying to work out what on earth he'd said there, but yeah.
Gets a car. That is good, Phil. Harry still for a 1-0 though. That's the right hand side. Mace. Squeeze it through brilliantly into Ornella Vignola.
No one was nearer there, just couldn't use it. Had no forward options.
Fernandez. Brady says wins with a clean sheet, the best in my opinion. Yeah, fair enough.
I think 1-0, especially when you're the underdog, is a great feeling.
Yeah, I guess a context is important as well.
Oh yeah.
I think 8-1's better than 8-0 though.
No, this is
Who's ever won 8-0?
A lot of teams have won 8-0.
Also, it looks silly in some points. 8-1 though, that's a good win.
Any foot game with 8 goals is a good game.
Yeah.
But 9 goals. Oh.
9 isn't like 9-1 you can't have, but 9-0, yeah. That's the difference.
Just rubbish is what it is. Rubbish.
And says 4-5 is a messy game, 3-0 is the most professional win in football. Yeah, of course, I'm the manager, yeah. But I want to. I want to see a team win 5-4.
Fair enough. This game is not going to end 5-4. I can say that much right now.
I know it's a travesty.
Unless we get.
I just remember West Brom versus Man United on the final day of the season, like 2015 or something like that.
Oh, blind. Yeah. Well,
it was I think was it 5-5 or 5-4?
I don't know. Very relevant.
Well, I don't know. So what's the possession now, lads? Brilliant segue to getting us back on topic. 73% to Arsenal, 27%. But if we take just the second half in isolation, somehow Arsenal had more of the ball than they did in the first half. That doesn't make any sense, but that's life.
That does not add up.
Drives it well. Blackstenius, Ford, Russo, lovely exchange. Onto Smith. That's too late from Russo.
Rude Mace again, absolutely everywhere.
Pass inside.
Oh, I tell you what,
clears it away.
They actually got away with that one. Dangled a leg, and Emily Fox should have just run past it, but managed to nick the ball off her.
Rainey says 6-7. Please don't ban me. That's tempting. That is tempting to ban you for that.
That should be a crime.
Here comes Vignola. Have you seen that companies are having to ban that number on like order numbers because when it pops up, everyone just shouts it?
I hate
that. It has to go like 66, 68. So, because they've had too much disruption, which is just brilliant. Home guard out now to Kitagawa. Shamandor says, are you concerned for Lotta when Leia returns? Yeah. But I'm not concerned for her person. I think she'll be okay, but I don't think she's going to play much. I think it's quite clear that Katie Reid was preferred in that position.
Yeah.
And I think that says a lot about where she sits in the pecking order right now.
Mm.
I mean, if you're Leia Cadena, you're not even in the pecking order. Like, everyone
Yeah,
would have to get injured for Kadena to get an opportunity, so she needs a move away. But I think Ruben Moy long term's got to find her. I think Ruben Moy's the kind of player who will sort of move to a mid-table side and be their best defender by a distance, and sort of bring them up a level. Imagine her at an Aston Villa or a Brighton; she'd look absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if she made a move like that. I could also see her doing the Esme Morgan, and just going to the US, and because the US don't believe in defending, it'll be brilliant.
Yeah.
I'm convinced. There's no defending happens in the NWSL.
Robinson on for Vignola then. I'm not quite sure what that means for her position. I don't think she's come on in midfield. So I think there's been another shift of
probably right
assistant. No, she's up front with
brilliant.
So they've gone to a 2. Is he or is he? She's on the floor.
Work out.
So that doesn't help. Once she's back to her feet, be easy to tell.
It's a 4-4-2. So did you say Vignola's come off?
Yeah, for Robinson.
They need a goal, and they have taken off Gargo and Vignola.
Yes.
They're 2, I believe, top scorers this season.
Probably.
Safe bet.
Yeah.
Yeah, top goal scorers.
Payne's done well there and then been taken out, and that will be given a free kick. Russo will complain, but she did dangle a leg.
Everyone got the same problem they have last season. There aren't enough goal scorers. 6 different players, that's it.
Only 6 people have scored a goal from in the league.
Yeah.
6.
And Vignola's got 4. And
Wow.
Gargo's got 3. If Gargo leaves in January, they are in so much trouble.
Especially because Vignola got 3 of those in one game.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've got that Jet. They need to score more goals. I'm going to say that.
And then Snoyce with 2, which, based on how she was playing last season, is quite in itself a miracle. Mamiki takes penalties, so she scored 1, and Kitagawa's got 1. But that's levelled out by the own goal she scored against
United,
yeah.
I have to say, I really, because with that goal scoring record, I don't think Everton are going to score, but it would be so Arsenal to concede in the next 12 minutes.
To someone who hasn't scored.
Yeah.
Ever.
Well, no, well,
who's never scored a goal?
I think
Has Shakawa ever got a goal?
Probably. In her career. Yeah, in a game where Arsenal had all of the ball, they dominated the first half, could have been 4 up in the first half, but it's still 2-1.
One goal for Uriah Red Diamonds, Rihanna Shikawa.
Now, how can she prod this in the back of the net from this free kick?
Never scored in another game. All in now from Kitagawa, and that is playing well by Borba. I would test her a lot more. I think.
I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, it looks like she's hurt herself doing that.
I don't know. I think she just hits the post, doesn't she?
No, just falls down. Claims it well, and then drops it, and then falls on it.
Falls.
So I wonder if it's just I'm going to sit on the floor and say, no, she's actually injured.
Rushing at the ball.
Why
we'll have this. Well, this should be worrying.
Just not. It doesn't really seem very innocuous. I don't know if it's because she's had nothing to do, and then the first catch she's made and landed on the floor, she's just not warmed up already.
Clover's going on in goal. I mean, surely they've got to think about this and not bring Clover on.
Yeah. I just wait a minute.
Yeah.
Because they may not have a goal kick.
I think this is tactical a little bit. By the way that Slagers immediately called everyone over and they're having a team talk.
Yeah.
It certainly looks a little suspicious, I have to say. I don't know if it was a communication of next time you get the ball, Borba, go down. Yeah. Because Borba hasn't had the ball for 40 minutes. She's had to wait till now.
Whereas Sorensen it's not as much of a team talk, it's just a couple of words to certain people. I mean, that is a dire record, though, for Everton. Since moving to Goodison Park, they've lost every single game at home in the league this season. That is not ideal.
Do you reckon it's because you can still hear the sort of chorus of booing that used to follow Goodison Park with the men's team? It's just like the ghosts are still doing it. It's haunted. That ground is just constant booing.
Yeah, it's
maybe. I hope the ladies fans are keeping it up and just constantly booing.
Whoever that reporter is, by the way, in the press section at the back there's got a UEFA Women's Champions League clipboard. I never thought I'd see one of those at Goodison Park.
Goodison Park, in case they ever make it. Change going for Everton, it's Hayley Ladd.
Barcelona got an away trip to Goodison Park.
One day, if they invest enough.
Yeah, so Arsenal are making their changes. So I think Borba's all right.
Yeah. Steph Catley makes way for Victoria Pelova. And Mariona Calvente makes way as well. And this is going to be Leah Williamson's return. Long-awaited return from injury. Steph Catley finally gets a rest. And Williamson back into the fray. Big return for Arsenal. Brain says, imagine a rule where you can make tactical timeout, but you had to sub off the injured player. I think just either you lean into tactical timeouts and you say you can have a tactical timeout each in a game, cool. Or if you don't want tactical timeouts in the game, then say when a player's injured, you have to go and stand over the other side of the pitch.
What, the manager or the player?
The players. They have to go stand by the VAR screen on the other side of the pitch and watch back the first 20 minutes on highlights. Whatever's been clipped up in that time. Lad on for Hayashi as well. Then for Everton, looking just to shore up that midfield a little bit more.
It's another change
as
then.
The constant bizarre rotation of Brian Torrington continues.
Well, no, Hayley Ladd is playing left midfield.
I think it's like a 4-3-3, but the
Diamond.
Narrowest 4-3-3 I've ever seen.
This is like a tower.
It's nice. They're just playing a big block of footballers.
Just a line.
They've got 3 central midfielders on the pitch, and then just 3 strikers.
And 4 defenders that are so narrow.
And then Snice drops in and it becomes a sort of 4, and Ladd is playing left midfield out of possession. Cool.
That's Hayley Ladd's best position, I think.
Chavender says, why isn't Pacheco getting a chance? Because she can't play right centre half, and they can't. She's not. Brian Thompson's playing a challenge when no one's had to play that position.
I think Pacheco is very good, but we saw in the opening games how there was so much space behind her that every team just ran into it.
True, but I don't think Kitagawa's had a particularly good season.
No, neither, but at least she's there. Whereas
Pacheco gets too high.
Yeah, Tottenham.
But equally, Kitagawa's been bailed out because Hayashi just drops into her position every time she gets forward. Kitagawa's still getting super high, to be fair. I mean, with Ishikawa at right back, you'd think they'd use her as a back 3, but
no. That makes too much sense. 8 minutes then. This second half is really just, I don't know. It's kind of just running away from everybody, and no one seems to be bothered.
Yeah, Everton coming forwards, out now to the left-hand side. Here is Kitagawa, dispossessed by Smith. Fox, Smith, back to Williamson, and Robinson will put her under pressure. Back out now to Fox. Pass inside, Pelova bounces it back to Cooney Cross. Fox inside to Pelova. Who looks out to the left-hand side. Touchdown by Ford to McCabe. Now Black Stenius. What can McCabe make happen here? Goes backwards. Pelova. Out wide now into McCabe. What can they make happen? Good ball there through the lines. No one's going to get there though. And that is smashed away. Versus, I like the look of Van Gool. She could be a really good player. Yeah, I think in a team, she is. I mean, it helps. She's the only one that gets to play a position, but I think it. I think in a midfield that was sort of better structured, probably alongside Ruby Mace. But she's doing really well centre half at the moment. She's like the only Everton player that's performing, though. She has just been done there well by Black Stenius. That's really good defending there from Fernandez to get back in. That's Alessia Russo actually carried that ball forwards.
Yeah, tidy footwork.
Like 2 Black Stenius.
Just couldn't pick out another red shirt in the middle. Arsenal would love a third goal right now just to kill off this game and to rule out any chance of a late Everton leveller.
Yeah.
Yes, this as it stands, Arsenal go to second. No one would have seen that coming a few match weeks ago after a really torrid start for them.
Ball in, cleared away. Pelova takes aim, bounces around. It's cleared away. Versus play of the match, I'd say Mace to spike the score.
Oh,
let's wait, because here come Everton. Robinson.
Oh.
That's good defending there from Cooney Cross, getting back in.
Great recovery from Cooney Cross. Initially made the error, but does well to make up for it. Play of the match, Mace has been immense, to be fair.
I think it's difficult because the Arsenal goal scorers like McCabe, hasn't done anything else today.
I don't think I've seen
It's
it.
a great... No, I think she's not really been involved in the attacking play. The only time she scored.
Yeah.
That really should be an indication that she should be more involved in the attack.
Especially in games where, like this one, she hasn't had to defend once.
No, not really.
That's why
They've not got Payne in behind there.
Oh.
And they've just flagged her off.
Yeah.
So it's been all right. Yeah, the other goal scorer was Russo. She hasn't had a good game.
And even that goal
it hit her chest and went in.
Yeah.
I'm not giving it to Kim Little for a terrible shot. Yeah, I'd probably say Ruby Mace. If it was an Arsenal player, I'd probably go Cooney Cross. Don't really think she's put her foot wrong. Strike from Smith, and that goes in. And a moment really out of nothing, but Olivia Smith makes a goal. And that's Everton 1 and Arsenal 3. And Arsenal fans can let out a sigh of relief. Don't need to worry now about a potential Everton comeback. I think Brosnan would have wanted to do better there. It's not particularly brilliantly struck by Smith. It's another goal from outside the box, but McCabe lumps it forward. Smith brings it down well. Brosnan probably... I mean, the shot's got to be stopped in this sort of area. Someone's got to act quicker. Brosnan should save that. Absolutely should save that.
Gets done by the bounce. Smith catches it okay. But yeah, the bounce is right in front of Brosnan. It's completely done by it. And Arsenal very much now have the 3 points going back to London. Yeah, they've just bounced over Brosnan's outstretched arm. It's a difficult one, but yeah, got to read that, got to deal with that. Yeah. And as you say, that will kill off any chance of a comeback, and that's big because it wasn't secure, but now it is, and it's another goal for Olivia Smith.
Yeah, it's one of those. Payne's in now, and Moodmore just enough to put her off. Borba comes out and claims it. It's one of those where it's a goal for Smith, and it's important because she gets goals because she takes a lot of shots in that sort of area. But it's another goal where you go, well, it's probably not it's just not struck particularly well.
Yeah,
it's probably not the right decision, but it is in the back of the net, and that ultimately, is important. But yeah, Ford cuts in, chipping it towards the back post. Smith looking for her second of the game, and wanting to be a late contender for player of the match there.
Well, we did say it either end 2-2 or 4-1. Arsenal now. This is what I mean. This is what I find so bizarre about Arsenal is they've got that goal and immediately they're pushing on and they want to score more. If they did that from when they first took the lead, they could be 4 or 5 in luck by now.
Yeah.
It amazes me every time I watch Arsenal, and it's exactly the same thing every game. Take the lead, then go conservative, and then just score loads at the end because I don't know, you fancy it.
Fox, Smith. Back to Fox. Palova, that's a brilliant turn there. Drops the shoulder, sells the deceit, and it's pulled back for good measure, and that would be a free kick. And Fernandez doesn't want to have a yellow card on their record, but the referee not interested in their pleas.
Not at this point. That's a bit of a pointless one. 89 minutes. It's not.
That's just because she hasn't given a card out all game.
Maybe, yeah. That will please the FA.
Got to fit the card. Yeah, got to fill the card quota.
Bit unlucky for Fernandez there, who really has not had a good game.
Yeah, I don't think that's too harsh to say. But yeah, another game where it's been an odd one for Everton. It really has been a strange game.
I think they can count themselves a bit fortunate that West Ham and Liverpool and Leicester have been so poor this season. Because on another year, even a year like next year, you think when there's 2 opportunities to go down, I think there've been a lot more trouble. I think they're getting lucky this year that not only there is no automatic relegation, but also the sides around them have been even worse.
Well, next year there'll be 2 relegation spots. Now, obviously, there'll be 3 sides who you would think would be, weaker, but. Yeah, Hines, by the way, coming on for McCabe. I think Everton, considering how much they spent in the summer, you'd have thought that this would be the year they break into the midfield, but I don't think they're anywhere near Brighton, Villa, definitely not Tottenham, and even London City, who I think have been are not. I think London City are comfortably like the 7th best team or 8th best team in this league.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think they're good enough to be competing in the midfield battle that they're currently competing in. But I think they're comfortably better than the sort of sides at the bottom at the moment. But yeah, I think you look at those sort of midfield sides, your Brightons, Aston Villas, Tottenhams. I think they're regularly able to compete with the top teams. But I don't think London City are anywhere near that yet. But they're comfortable with sort of the 8th team in the league. Everton should be the 9th because the other 3 have been so awful this season.
Everton have now chosen. This is the right moment to get the ball down and play some lovely flowing moves in the Arsenal penalty area.
Now they're going to score.
We saw Tony Payne nearly get in a moment ago, and then Snoyce and Payne were linking up well there.
Well, saying of course that with that margin, Arsenal have taken the gas a bit more, but still, it's funny. Brosnan out well there. Good communication between her and her centre back. No fake Herbie, Gemma Evans-esque situations will be happening today.
Yeah, that was certainly something on Thursday night. No, we hope massive game at the bottom tomorrow for Liverpool and West Ham.
For the loser, is the manager in trouble?
I think if it's Gareth Taylor, potentially. I don't think he should be, but I think this is FSG we're talking about, so you never say never. If it's West Ham, I don't think so either way. Skinner's done well to get a couple of results on the board there, and they're
fair enough.
Yeah.
So is Taylor after Taylor? Who do you think is the closest manager to the sack?
Brian Sorensen. No, that's a great question. I don't think any of the top 4, their sides would have to be out the top 4.
Kitagawa, good ball into the box. That'll bounce all the way through. But also, all the top 4 sort of all are in the rest of the competition. It's not like cracked out of Europe early. I don't think Skinner's going to get sacked.
I think the other thing that could kill Taylor tomorrow is the timing of the game, because if they lose, they haven't got a whole winter break. So it's the perfect time to get rid of a manager. I don't think they should get rid of him by any stretch of the imagination. I think you have to be patient and back him in the window, but I think it also presents a great opportunity as a football club owner and as the higher ups to go, we've got a month here where we can get a new manager and completely change our fortunes.
I think if Leicester hadn't just brought Rick Passmore in on a stupid 3-year deal, then I think that would probably be him, because the way they play is so negative. And I think, yes, they've done well to claim 6 points, but I don't see it being sustainable. So I think they're in a bit of trouble.
Yeah.
But as we say, Everton should be fine. Just because everyone below them is poor, but yeah. A bit messy there between Mace and Blacksenius, and the referee here up in the card counter at the end of this game, fulfilling her quota.
There we go. Tick that box on the observing report.
Couple of yellows, lovely stuff. Jamador says, any streams tomorrow? Yes, we've got a double header coming your way tomorrow. Chelsea-Brighton is the 12 o'clock game, and then we'll be live after that for Manchester United versus Tottenham. Yes. Man United versus Tottenham. I'm looking forward to
2 great
games.
I think
this week, as much as there's been some drama, I don't think we've watched many good games of football. This has been probably the best.
Yeah,
says a lot.
I think it's one of those tomorrow where, obviously, the bigger sides are Chelsea and Man United.
Shot now from range off the bar. Blackstenius there lashing it.
Could be another great strike. We're running some worldies today.
On the edge. Struck straight at Kitagawa, who firms it well. And that's cleared away. Payne looking to turn in behind. Does want to beat one. That's Robinson up in support. If she can get around Cooney Cross, that is. Cooney Cross with a brilliant recovery tackle. Payne never looked confident.
No.
Taking her on.
That's our player of the match for me. For Cooney Cross. That tackle there. She's been brilliant. I'm so glad we get to see Kyra Cooney Cross play football. I think she's a great player. And there's a lot of potential.
Yeah. Absolutely. I just think she needs an actual defensive midfielder alongside her.
Yes, that would also help. But instead she gets to play Marion Callante. We got 60. That's the other thing today. We got 60 minutes of Callante in the 10.
60 minutes of watching Callante get to attack. Well, on the right hand side is Ford. Pierre, join us tomorrow for more WSL action. Make sure to join us as well on Monday, and so we'll be back with our live weekend roundup. We'll be talking about this game. We'll talk about all the WSL games to come tomorrow as well. So look out for that on Monday. We'll be live at 5 o'clock. And throughout this week, it's Champions League action. We have the final day of the Champions League on Wednesday. And then join me on Thursday for the Champions League knockout draw, which of course Arsenal will be involved in. That is 12 o'clock UK time. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, very exciting. Be intrigued. Arsenal, we're hoping to get a kind draw, but there's a lot of good teams in that knockout playoff round.
I was going to say, is there any such thing as a kind draw?
Yes.
Leuven.
Well, even them wouldn't count them out.
I'd probably like Atleti than Leuven, to be fair. And it's dealt with that corner by Everton, and that will be the last kick of the game here at Goodison Park. A comfortable 3-1 victory for Arsenal today, and I'm very happy to say I absolutely nailed that prediction for anyone that's keeping count. But yeah, great game today. Arsenal with a much more comfortable victory than what we've seen in recent weeks. Everton with a messy performance, but a good goal from Hayashi spares some of those blushes. They're back in action next week. Everton are done now for the winter break. Of course, Arsenal back in action twice this week as they have Champions League in the midweek and then Women's League Cup action, a quarter-final against Crystal Palace on Sunday. So for Everton, that rounds off the year. What's to come in 2026? We don't know. Hopefully, less of Holmgard in midfield, Vignola in the 6, and more players playing the right positions, but we'll see. That, though, is everything from us today. Cheers, everyone that's tuned in. Great to see so many people in the live chat getting involved. And make sure to join us for the rest of this WSL weekend. That is everything. Thank you guys very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.